Hi, friends. Patrick Harris with you. That's Danny Meringue to my distant left. Happy little Monday here, the firm of Harris and Meringue. As I said, my name is Patrick Harris. That guy over there, well, that's Daniel Meringue. You know him. He is here in action. Dare I say, Danny is quite lively this morning.
I got some juice today.
Got some juice today, huh?
Got some juice today.
Got some juice?
It's gonna be a good day, Tater.
Oh boy. T's and P's to P. Harris over here, please. Send your thoughts, your well wishes. My wife will appreciate it. My children, I love you. I just want you to know that. If I don't make it out of today, I would like everybody to know that I tried my hardest. I did my best. You know, pluses, minuses, always things to learn, always things to get better about. But today, you know, we're gonna do the dang. We're gonna do the damn thing. Hello. How was our weekend?
It's good.
I had a great weekend.
I don't feel good.
Now, Rusty, is this one of those was like somebody mean to you on the playground? You don't feel good all of a sudden?
No, yeah, sure. Is that where we want to go? Yes, that was it.
I had a really wonderful weekend. I mean, the sports gods were absolutely fantastic to us, and we'll get to that all throughout today and tomorrow as well.
No, the sports gods were effing horrible to us.
I'd argue they were wonderful.
On Friday night, at least.
Yesterday night when I got home to watch, I was out with some friends watching the Niners-Eagles game. And when I got home to watch Patriots-Chargers with the wife, just the two of us all quiet watching the game, I felt like Ralphie in A Christmas Story. No, what's his little brother's name?
Oh, I can never remember.
Randy,
yes. I felt like Randy on Christmas when Randy had the most awesome Christmas ever, and then later on he's just passed out in a pile of wrapping paper. Like he's so excited and had such a wonderful time, and now he's dead. I would like to thank, and we'll get into that game later. But
Speaking of dead, is that an Oregon fan today?
I would like to thank.
I did not have the most awesome Christmas.
I would like to thank the New England Patriots and the LA Chargers for giving me a breath because I was exhausted. By the time that game came around, I was like, I don't know if I have it in me, babe. I don't know if I could do another game that goes down to the wire.
Well, and guess what? That one wasn't great for Duck fan either.
I was just gonna say, old Herbie didn't show up either.
Bless
so
America.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I'm. Don't worry though. Don't worry, Duck fan. I'm gonna pace myself.
I did have a very, very sad moment of the weekend, though, as one of my heroes, somebody musically who is very, very near and dear to my heart and very, very impactful. The passing of Bob Weir was a tough one for me. I got very lucky to see Dead & Co. in 2019 at the Gorge, and Bob Weir guested with Dave Matthews Band in Berkeley in 2016. So I got a little bit of Bobby in my life. I'm a little too young to really know Dead shows. But the Grateful Dead is a huge part of my life. And I was curious to ask you guys, you know, my sister, for example, 10 years ago, David Bowie died. And when Bowie died, she was just a wreck. That was kind of not only her favorite musician, but like part of her identity. You know, she was the weird kid in school and like, you know, was into Rocky Horror Picture Show and all this kind of off the wall. We were very, very different kids growing up. And that became part of her identity. I don't know if the Dead is part of my identity per se. But I wanted to ask you guys if there's any like celebrities and things that if they were to go or when they did go that actually impact you, because you don't want to worship like idol worship,
Right.
And that is a commandment in the Bible. But you don't know these people,
And you don't want your identity to get tied up in it. But like it does impact you. Like I didn't think anything like that ever would, but for me it was Chester Bennington, Linkin Park. You know, it's messed up in the sense of like pretty much all of my favorite singers of all time committed suicide.
And you being ex-military, you know, the PTSD and all the post-war and stuff that veterans go through, that suicide is near and dear to your heart.
No, we were the highest suicide rate in the country. So it's one of those things. It's pretty messed up. But yeah, Bennington for like. I didn't like Linkin Park's one of my 3 favorite bands of all time, hands down. I saw
Dead's one of my 3 favorite bands of all time.
I saw him play more times than I could count, and you know, when it happened, it definitely like hit me. But I didn't realize it was going to hit me like that. You know what I mean? Like it's not something you know, but somehow they're quote unquote a part of your life. Like I remember buying the first album. I remember buying the second album when I got
Hybrid Theory?
Hybrid
Is that the
Theory's
second
first.
album? Oh, that's the
Meteor
first.
is the second.
Okay.
Meteor is the one like the entire album singles. But I remember buying that when I got to a new duty station. I bought 2 albums at the same time. It was Meteor, Linkin Park, and it was
You said duty.
yeah, it was
Damn it, Rust.
50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. I think they came out like within like 2 weeks of each other.
Go.
And
Go, shorty.
yeah, exactly, a little PIMP. And but I remember like that album, that Meteor album. I had the 6-disc changer in my car at the time. It never left. It never, ever, 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 ever left my car until the time I got rid of that car. So it was in there for like, I don't know, 7, 8 years. Thousands of times I played that album. One of my favorite things to do in the summertime is to late night drive by myself, window like on a nice night, windows down, sunroof open, and I would just press play on that album and just crank it up all the way.
I have heard a funny thing. We're going to tangent here and make this a little funnier, I guess. I've seen this question asked on the internet many, many times. Maybe you have as well. So it's like your wife has been kidnapped and they have held her ransom.
I have a very specific set
And
skills.
skills, yes.
And it's a Saturday night and you have to drive an hour and a half to go get her and her life is on the line. Are you listening to music in the car or not?
Ooh.
You see what I mean? Like your partner, whether it's your wife, your husband, your partner, whatever it is, maybe a mom or a child or something.
Yeah, I mean,
are you listening to music?
it's probably.
And what are you listening to?
It's probably Drowning Pool at the Bodies at the Floor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you're ready. Hit him up by Tupac.
Yeah, no, it's.
that, or yeah.
I'm coming in guns a blazing.
I don't know. Patrick
I'm
is
not
probably
thinking.
listening.
I'm not thinking that hard about it, but I'm probably just putting it on the Lithium channel on the old Sirius XM.
I'm probably like "You're So Vain" by Carly Simon, just crying
Probably
profusely.
think
I mean,
this song is
It's
about you.
I love you, baby.
Yeah, no, we I had two burn CDs that had hundreds of plays that we ran for missions.
Yeah.
Played every time we went out.
Just because you're just ready to go.
It was the let's go.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to get down to business. So yeah, no, I don't think I drive in silence.
I don't think I do either. But God, I don't know what I put on though.
If somebody's kidnapped my lady, yeah, it's
How many guns are in that car, Danny?
all of them.
All of them. All of them. You only have 2 hands.
I got a back to hold more. I got legs.
Well, I mean, you can only
That's what
shoot
the big bags are for.
you ever,
with the shotgun through the handle, like we were talking about.
Have you ever seen? Was it the last John Wick when he's in the?
I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, buddy.
For no reason other than I just haven't. I heard they're great.
Dude,
They're probably the
no.
best action flicks out there.
No,
like
like
legitimately.
legitimately, you should remedy that and
Yeah.
go watch them all.
Without giving you a spoiler, they go through this this old Italian like monastery complex and
Okay.
through the tunnels under Rome.
Oh, it sounds epic.
And it's a gun. And Keanu took I think it was like 6-8 months in 3-gun training. Pistol, shotgun, rifle, and learned how to like tactically load, reload, how to move, when to move. Like obviously they exaggerate a lot of things, but one of the things I love about the continuum of the movie, they always reload at the right time. Always, it's never like if he's got a 7-in-1 handgun. Once 8 rounds are fired, it's reload time. Like,
And it's not like those movies where somehow that 7-bullet gun has 15 bullets
yes,
in
and
it.
it drives me nuts because I know exactly what he's firing and I know exactly how many rounds are in that. But there's a scene in that where like he's fully loaded, like he's got the rifle, he's got the shotgun, he's got the handguns, he's got things stationed along the way. He picks up other firearms along the way. He's got a belt with shotgun shell holsters. Like that's the level that I would go to.
Remember in The Matrix when he would like had the handguns and he like dropped the clips out, but was able to like
Catch him and load him.
catch
there.
and load them in the air? God, that was
Well,
great.
he does that, but like the real life version of
Yeah,
it
that's
with-
clearly not real.
No, but like he does like the real life high speed, tactical loading that you see from operators, stuff like that was kind of cool. But yeah, no, everything that I owned, and then I would make a phone call to somebody I know who has more stuff.
Dare I say one of the more underappreciated celebrities of our lifetime, Keanu Reeves?
Oh, absolutely.
Like everything you hear about
Awesome-
that guy is just
awesome
awesome
dude.
dude.
Well, look, I also don't
Didn't
think
his
though,
like
that,
wife die and he's like never dated since?
No. He's been married. He's been with. Okay, I don't know if they're married or not, but he has had the same partner forever. And she is an older looking lady, so
Okay.
he has been kind of celebrated for not being that guy like Leo, who's like, "Hey, look, once you turn 25, I'm done."
By the way, can we retire that Leo joke?
Yeah, I mean,
Like everybody takes the shot at Leo for dating kids. It's like I get it. He dates kids.
Yeah,
got
but-
it.
No, keep it going.
but we can't retire it because he keeps
He
going.
keeps doing it.
He keeps going. But anyway, no, but so like you'll see him out at, red carpet stuff, and his lady, she's an older looking lady, gray hair. She looks like an older lady. She's 60 something, and Keanu is close to 60 at this point. And I forget where I was going with this, but no, I don't think, no, here we go. We're back, and we're back. No, I don't think Keanu is I think everybody appropriately appreciates Keanu and his role and what he does both in film and in the world.
Just being.
I
Yeah.
think that he is properly honored.
This is again totally random tangent. But I don't know why I just thought of this.
It's your show, Danny.
Yeah,
Do what you
no.
want.
I mean, I journeyed out to your neck of the woods this weekend.
Oh, you went to Vancouver?
I went to the Vancouver waterfront for the first time in 20 years.
Oh,
On
did you have dinner?
purpose?
Yeah,
Easy, easy, Rod.
no.
Easy, Rod.
I legitimately, I hadn't been down there since probably a few years before Who Song and Larry's burned down. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And we went out.
Well, whose song is still there?
Well, I know, but the
I know
the
what
OG
you
one,
mean,
yeah. But we went out having a nice dinner date. Went out there, went down to Wildfin.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where you ate.
Yeah, tasty little spot. It was-
Wildfin's a good little spot.
There's that, and there's the Dos Salas is the Mexican spot. I've heard is really good.
I haven't been to the Mexican spot. I know it's really pricey.
Yeah, I mean, but it's nice to
I
have.
eat greasy street tacos.
No, I'm with you. But I like the idea of having like some nice restaurants. That whole area is so nice, dude.
It is.
Lady and I had a great night.
One
Great
of
night.
the underrated spots down there would be the Ruse Crust Collective.
Oh.
I'm friends with those guys. So
Okay.
free pub to the Ruse Brewing Boys. Great pizza, Detroit style.
Okay.
Great beer.
Just that whole area, like
yeah,
the
it's good.
parking complex that's right there. It's like it caught me off guard. Just like everybody's like, oh no, it's nice, and I was like, okay.
Well,
Like,
what-
I got down there, I was like, damn, this place is nice. Like I want to come down here more often.
As somebody who grew up downtown Vancouver as a card carrying downtown Vancouver kid, the waterfront is not always my jam.
Mhm.
It's built for you,
Yeah.
for somebody who doesn't live there. But the cool thing it's kind of forcing the old downtown to step up their game.
Yeah.
And that is rad.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Like,
what we're really
the
down with.
modernization of it all is just there. So,
Oakley dokley.
Mm.
You ready, Danny?
oh baby,
We got a lot to get to today, my friends. A lot to get to. Drew
God, I
is
hate this show.
Drew Holiday is back, but at what expense do we get Drew back? Because Denny, things don't look so great. The wild card weekend continued to deliver and deliver and deliver, and nothing better. We'll sneak in a little baseball with Web Gems, but let's start where it goes. The game on Friday night as the Ducks fall to Indiana. We'll pay tribute to Bob Weir today throughout the show, but let's get into this. There's a lot to talk
let's
about.
get to the Grateful Dead.
There's a lot to talk about as the
You
Ducks.
are enjoying this way too much.
Hey, whoa! I think through the first 13 minutes, I have held back plenty.
You've been good. Danny been good boy. Danny been good boy.
Considering what we saw on Friday, I have been very nice.
Okay, what happened to the Trojans?
We'll get to
There
Dante
it is.
Moore. We'll get to Dante Moore. We'll get to Indiana, Kurt Signetti, and the wagon that they are. But let's start with the game itself as Oregon falls to Indiana in the college football semifinal. That's Danny. I'm Patrick. This is 105.1 The Fan. 10:18 here, Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it, baby. We're live, as we always are, from the shadows of the historic Fremont Bridge. 503-864-6326 is the fan text line. Let me know your favorite Bob Weir songs throughout the day. That is Estimated Profit. That's my favorite Bob Weir song from the Grateful Dead. I hope you enjoy that. Shout out to the YouTubers, youtube.com/1051 The Fan. You can come join in the chats. We're having fun. We're having fun. As Zach states, the petty sports joy in Danny's eyes. I'm truly jealous of that happiness. I think that sums it up.
I don't know
Danny.
what to do with my hands. And to Jeff Russ' point about where was USC over this weekend, not getting blown out on national TV again.
Because
that's where they weren't.
They couldn't play anymore because they didn't make it there.
Yeah, they
Right.
just couldn't find a way to get there and lay the second biggest egg in the second straight year.
That's okay, but the first part of your statement was absolutely correct. They just couldn't find a way to get there.
Oakley dokley. Well, the Indiana Hoosiers take down the Oregon Ducks 56-22. And it's funny.
And it wasn't even that close.
Yeah, it's funny. Leading up to the game, you're watching the pomp and circumstance. You're watching everybody load up. Obviously, the Whittington news and Davison news get you a little tight in the pants, and you're kind of worried. And we all knew that Cignetti was going to come out firing. We all knew that this game was huge for Lanning and the Ducks, that it was a heavyweight fight.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think anybody realized that when Cignetti stepped on the field, he was doing this. And that's pretty much how that game went from the jump.
And he didn't let go.
He didn't let go. You said this in passing with Andy Dirt Johnson, and we kind of talked a little bit before the show. He was ready, and it was personal for him.
Yeah, and I don't think it was like necessarily personal directly with Lanning. I think it was personal with the rest of the country.
It's kind of what Mario's doing a little bit right now, but like with Mafioso, double birds more. I think what's interesting when you look at this game, obviously we'll get into Dante in a minute. We'll get into Indiana going forward in a minute. To me, it felt, watching this game kind of in hindsight and getting after it, that Oregon had spent all season trying to get to where they want to be, okay? Good wins throughout the year. A humbling loss to Indiana at home where you didn't play great, but you didn't play terrible. It was a tie game at the end of the fourth. Oregon is building to try to find out how good of a team they actually were, to where Indiana knew how good of a team they were the entire time. And that's something
Sig's been telling us that.
And I think that's something that's shame on us, and I mean the collective us, for falling in love so much with the Cignetti story and not actually realizing that this team this year was born ready to do this. At any moment this year, have you ever thought they were going to lose? They might have lost to Iowa. They might have lost to Oregon. They might have lost to Ohio State. They got close against Penn State. But in all those moments, did you ever really think they were going to lose?
No.
I mean, Oregon was the big wake-up call for a lot of people. Round one was a big wake-up call. But between domination of Alabama and complete and utter dismantling of Oregon, because what I'll say is Cignetti and blowing out Alabama, look, most people agree that Bama team's not very great. Josh Pate said it, that team's kind of fraudulent.
They're still
Alabama.
really good.
They're still really good. 38-3 is the final score of that game. Boy, the Oregon game felt like a dismantling.
It felt like double that.
It felt like, why are you even here?
Yeah. From the opening play.
First play.
And, I've mentioned this about Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix, a couple times now over the last couple weeks. And I think it was, I'm totally blanking on who it was. They were talking about what Cignetti has done on coaching this year. And I tagged Bartu in it on Twitter. I was like, hey, you might want to take a look at this. And he quote tweeted it with, "It is the best 4-year coaching run for a coach we have ever seen." And, we were talking, pre-show. Sig's the best coach in college football right now. Today, right now. It's not Kirby. It's not Day. It's not Dabo. And it was like, oh, they've won. I'm talking about, if I'm going into a game right now, today, there's no other coach I want right now. And everybody's like, oh, that's revisionist history, or you're getting caught up in the moment. How am I getting caught up in the moment when we saw what he did to Alabama, and We just got done. We are a week removed talking about how good Oregon's defense is.
Fact.
Was Oregon's defense missing their DBs?
No.
Were they missing their linebackers?
No.
Were they missing their pass rushers?
They came off a very, very stellar performance.
Did they get stuffed in a locker, just absolutely humiliated, dragged out in the street, and beat to death in front of everybody? Yes.
Well, and they were also featuring a running back that had, 2 carries on the season?
Sports Center anchor Jay Harris?
Sports Center anchor Jay Harris.
I'm not talking about Oregon's offense. I'm talking about that defense that got 56 points hung up on it.
Now some of that doesn't help because, yes, first play of the game is a pick six, bad throw by Dante, bad
rather
play call.
inauspicious beginning to a game.
Couple fumbles, puts their defense in some bad spots. I get that. But, yeah, there was what's the score is 14-7 at the end of the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And
to be honest, the response drive after the
was
pick
great.
six, we were texting. I was like, that's some resolve, dog, to come out. Because did we got the official numbers on how many Indiana fans were in that building? Because it looked like 80-20.
Oh, it was huge.
Like it didn't like
It sounds like they're
Oregon
outbuying-
travels well. They just got kept out of that game,
It sounds like Indiana's outbuying Miami, too, in Miami.
which is nuts.
That's crazy. Some very interesting stuff to share with you, some stats from this game. If I didn't tell you the score and I gave you some team stats, you tell me what you think the final score is. Third down efficiency, Oregon, 8 of 13, Indiana, 11 of 14. Total yards, 378 Oregon, 362 Indiana, all right? Some discrepancies here. Oregon passing, 285, Indiana, 177. Rushing, Oregon 93, Indiana 185. So there's your big differences, but they kind of cancel each other out. One team could throw, one team could run by these stats, okay? Penalties, 5 penalties for Oregon, 5 penalties for Indiana. Turnovers, 3 for Oregon, 0 for Indiana, and that's the story of the game. But just looking at these stats, it should not be the way it was. But my eyeballs told me something completely different. 14-7 going into the second quarter. When they drove the ball down the field and scored another touchdown and went up 21-7,
it was over.
I was at a buddy's house, a diehard Duck fan, listener of the show, and I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry, man, this game is over.
Yep.
And I felt that way at 6-0 against Texas Tech just because of what I saw from Texas Tech's offense, and it was the exact same thing. That Oregon's offense struggled, and Oregon's defense could not stop Mendoza, whose stat line is not amazing, but boy, is it efficient.
Here's the thing.
You said a quarter of his passes are touchdowns. And some of those were dimes.
I think pretty much every single throw he made was an absolute dime. I'm seeing a lot of Duck fans saying, well, the Indiana had short fields and all these things. And, but if Dante was this, you weren't making those same excuses for Baron Morton last week. It was how good your defense was and how you didn't capitalize. You scored 22 points.
I will give this show a little bit of credit. We were very high on the Baron Morton played really, really bad. And
Oregon's offense, Texas Tech's defense, very good.
Very,
that front
very good.
seven is diabolical. But you didn't capitalize last week against Texas Tech. You didn't bring up 56 points when that team turned you turned them over in short fields. Where was that? And again, so if you're going to have your cake now, then go back and recognize last week your offense wasn't good.
Yeah, let's get into that. The offense and their struggles, and more importantly, this. I don't think all blame goes on one person, but the offense was definitely a glaring issue in this game. It starts at quarterback. It starts at offensive coordinator, schematically, play calls, etc. Let's get into that Oregon offense. Dante had a rough game, and I think if you're an NFL scout, you don't always want to focus on one bad performance, but it might be that bad of a performance. We'll do that next, but first we'll toss it to Rust with sports.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan wildcard weekend of the NFL wraps up this evening with the Texans visiting the Steelers. That is a 5:15 kick on ESPN and ABC. Houston are 3-point favorites. After a rough weekend for the Ducks, Nebraska transfer quarterback Dylan Raiola has committed to Oregon. This follows the news of backup quarterback Luke Moga announcing he has entered the transfer portal. And after having their 5-game win streak snapped on Sunday, the Trailblazers now off today. They head to San Francisco for a tilt with the Warriors tomorrow night. Portland currently 19-21 on the season. That is ninth. in the Western Conference. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the firm of Harris and Meringue. Weekdays 10 to 1. The Fan Sports Network. 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
We will get to the Blazers at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. Drew Holiday's back, but at what cost? So stick around for a half hour. We'll dive into your Blazers here in the 11 o'clock hour. Staying in this Oregon-Indiana game and switching over to the offense. We walked into this game, Danny, you and I, knowing that Dante had to have a really, really good game. I thought Tyson Alger, who always joins us and will join us again on Wednesday, put it into a nice perspective that he doesn't have to be flawless, but he has to be crisp. And mistake-free was giant. That if you threw an interception, it can't be the end of the world. And that game started from the jump. Dante stared down his receiver, threw to the best corner on Indiana's defense, and then that ball was caught. My jaw dropped. I had nothing to say, and the first thing that came in my brain was, uh-oh. And a lot of this goes on.
One thing that I said.
Not FCC appropriate.
Exactly.
I have issues with Will Stein. I have all year. And I think Will Stein showed some issues. But to your point that you brought up a lot, and I pushed back because I didn't know if I wanted to believe it.
Well, because Dante has talent.
Exactly. That Will Stein was not ready to unleash Dante because he didn't have the faith. Mm-hmm. And I think both of those were on display. That Will Stein's play calling was conservative because he didn't trust Dante, and Dante showed us why he can't be trusted. And you know me. This is a reality. I am no fan, but clearly I like Dante Moore a lot. Yeah. And it has been said on this show how much I like Dante. That's one of the most brutal quarterback performances in a big game in college football I've seen in a very, very long time. Not from a Baron Morton.
No.
But from a Dante Moore.
From a guy who has the
number
talent.
one overall pick potential. You know, I've never seen Andrew Luck play a game like that. I've never seen Joe Burrow play a game like that. Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be a tape back there. But in a big game, Dante, he really struggled. He struggled with his progressions. He struggled with his poise.
You could just say he struggled.
He struggled.
There was nothing about his game
he
where
struggled in the
looked
pocket. And you look, I thought Harkey had a rough day on the right side. That offensive line as a whole had a rough day. Indiana just bullied them again. But when you're the quarterback, it kind of falls on that. And the 3 turnovers right off the bat, giving Indiana short field. And I'll read some of your texts here in a moment. Oregon's offense giving Indiana the short field 3 times, one score without the offense even coming on the field. You can't come back from that.
No.
It's just Joe Montana, Tom Brady.
Indiana doesn't make mistakes.
They can't do that. You've put yourself in such a bad spot that it's over before it even starts.
Dante was bad. Period.
Dante was bad.
Full stop. He was bad, and it wasn't just the pick 6. And I was watching the game at the Blazers game, and we've got the media dining area. We've got a bunch of TV screens up, and I'm watching this happen. And there's a staggering majority of duck gear around me. And if you're underneath Moda Center, like doing the prep, it's loud. It's all right. It's a happening time, right? It's you could have heard a pin drop when D'Angelo Ponton snags that ball.
Yep. I told you my jaw dropped. I had nothing to say.
The roar that came from the Indiana crowd was deafening. Like I saw tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet from whether you were sitting in the press box as media, whether you're standing on the field as media, the sideline crew. Everyone was like, "This place is maniacal right now," and it was a cascade of crimson for the next 60 minutes. And Dante Moore did not look ready. He did not look prepared, and he definitely did not execute. And I had one Duck fan who's like, well, his stat line's okay. He chunked up some garbage time.
This text line 503-864-6326. This loss goes to Dante Moore. The lights were way too bright for him. I'm not sold on him at all. I was saying this to y'all leading into the game. He hasn't floored me at all this season. And Friday was him simply peeing down his leg on national television. The better team won Friday, and Indiana was the better team. And I want to be careful sometimes to not revisionist history. Okay, and I don't think we're doing that. But I want to preface that to Duck fans out there who are kind of licking wounds today. It's not that we were over our skis on Dante, or me specifically. I'll say me specifically. It's not that I was over my skis on Dante. It's the talent. It's you can see the juices.
We had Danny Cannell on last week.
You can see the throws.
But remember the thing he said, the thing he asked, what's the game? What's the game when he wasn't playing Powder Puff U, that he was the guy?
And my answer was Northwestern, only because Northwestern rattled off some nice wins throughout the year afterwards.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Every other game, it was a throw, 2 throws. It wasn't, again, the talent. I mean, the throw against Iowa.
Oh, such a beautiful throw.
I mean, that's a throw that an NFL quarterback makes. Like, that's an absolute dime. But you have not asked at any point in time this season Dante Moore to lead you down the field time after time after time.
I kept asking that. I wanted to see it.
Yes.
I kept asking for it. Like, that's what I wanted, because I wanted to know if he could do it. And
I think the answer right now is no.
I still actually don't know that question, because
I think against these kind of teams, the answer is no.
well, I don't think you can decide.
Right
Currently.
now. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the kid's cooked. I'm saying right now, because the
Dante might be a little more Julian Saiyan than we realize. Could be a great quarterback.
It was his 18th or 19th start.
I was going to say we're like 17, 18 starts, something like that. So he's still basically,
a year. He's been a year-long
Call
starter.
it sophomore season. Now, yes, he did transfer to Oregon and choose to sit and watch for a year and learn things. And I think had that not happened, I mean, Oregon, had he not decided to come and sit and watch last year and do the things that he did, Oregon, he would not have been able to do with Oregon what he did this year. And was Friday an absolute letdown? Uh-huh.
I think
Yeah,
it
sure was.
I think it's really
But-
dangerous. Sorry, finish.
No, it's okay. But I think that, again, we're talking about 17, 18, maybe 19 starts. If he returns next year, I think we're going to have a whole different story.
The difference between the two, the difference between Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza was,
A canyon.
I mean, there's no comparing the two.
Well, and I told you I feel a lot better about Fernando Mendoza winning
Screw
the
it,
Heisman right
send
now.
him to the Raiders. I'm good with it.
I think something very, very dangerous in this situation, which is might have what happened, and I see some of your texts that we'll get to in the Big Nooner when we kind of talk about this Oregon program going forward, in the coaching staff and things like that, especially on Will Stein. I think it's very difficult that as I'm asking for that game where Dante airs it out in a big game against an elite defense, to choose to do that in a semifinal. And I don't know if it's fair to say he did that in the semifinal. But it felt like he did. To air out Dante in the biggest game of the season against the wagon that is Indiana is poor hindsight. Is poor plan.
I think you're giving him too much credit.
You have to know if he can do that before you get to that point and decide to unleash him in this game. I don't know about that.
I think you're giving him too much credit because in every single big matchup, he's been fine.
I think
He's just been fine. He's what big game this season? And this isn't to thrash the kid. Like we've talked about, it's experience. What big game has he excelled in?
I think that
The
perhaps
USC game, he was pretty good.
Okay, but again, I'm talking about you walk away going.
Yeah.
Look,
Again, we say it all the time. Iowa, Penn State throws that you're just like, whoa.
individual moments,
Whoa.
but like I'm talking from opening kick to closing the gate. What was the game that you walked away and went, Dante was an absolute monster this game? Because we
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, well, we went down to
Oregon State.
69-3.
We went down to Oregon USC when Caleb Williams was there, and we saw Bo do both things.
Yeah.
And it was like he was in control of that game. And even I was like, look, he probably had, I think it was something like 220, 230 yards after catch because USC couldn't tackle anybody. But it was also Bo made the throws every single time. It was like, but that's the difference when you're talking about a guy who's a 6-year starter versus a guy who's got 18 career starts.
Exactly. And here's the thing that I think that we're doing a little bit too much of too is we are taking too big of a dump on Dante Moore and not giving Kurt Signetti and that Indiana team enough credit for the train that they are.
Oh, we will.
We'll get to that
in a moment. And I'll push back
Because
on that
they
a
have
little, Rusty.
they have made a lot of teams and a lot
Look
of players
really
who
bad.
look really bad all year.
I understand that, but 3 turnovers that soon, giving that short of the field,
No, I get it.
I mean, I can do that. Not really, but you know what I mean. Like,
And if you're one of the Duck fans that's out there like, well, no Jordan Davison, no Whittington, there's no one on that team healthy where you stand a chance against that team.
503-864-6326.
I'll disagree with you a little bit there. I think if you got Jalen Lamar and Jordan Davison and your full healthy running back room, I'm not saying that you win that game, but it's not the result that we got.
21 of those points were from bad offense, but defense didn't show the ability to stop Indiana. The stats showed how short of fields Indiana had consistently. Another texter says, Oregon got beat in the trenches, dominated in the trenches. Like that's never happened before. Until this school gets people who can compete with Big Ten and SEC front lines, they'll be an afterthought nationally.
Were you surprised to
Okay,
see
that's kind of silly though. I think,
Oregon's a lot better in the
because those
trenches,
lines in the
Agreed.
trenches they have changed.
But-
Just wanted to
a
read
lot
some.
since
Just
Chip Kelly.
wanted to read some thoughts because I think
That's just somebody that is going off the old Chip Kelly train.
No. I think the offense played so porous, and the defense got worked really difficult.
There's
really
nothing.
hard.
If you're an Oregon fan right now and you're like trying to justify and go through this, you can't.
You can't.
You can't. You got. It wasn't just a bad game. You got throttled, embarrassed, humiliated.
At the end of that game, I started to wonder. I'm like, what happens with Dan Lanning?
We'll get to that here in a little bit.
'Cause-
A narrative is going to come out of that. But here's like a point to the trenches. Indiana has done this despite, we talked about the JMU versus Oregon, the number of, 5 and 4 stars to JMU's, roster of like 3 stars and under. This Indiana team, while they did not have the 4 and 5 star profile that Oregon did, they had a team full of grown men. And that's not that's the way college football is going and Oregon needs to be better. It's like, yeah, dog, it's Signetti. But take a look at what Indiana did. 3 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, 2 that were recovered, and an interception. You do have to give Sig credit, but also those 3 stars and the guys that developed and Sig that brought over, they worked the Ducks.
They're also adults.
But they worked them.
Let's get into this Indiana team and the wagon that they are. We'll get back into a little bit of Ducks in the program going forward in the Big Nooner. But to Russ's point, let's give Indiana some flowers here. This team metrically is sitting better than 2019 Joe Burrow. It's not a fun little story anymore, guys. Signetti's not a cool little invention anymore. This is the real deal. Let's give Indiana their flowers next. Portland Sports Leader, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Sugar Magnolia, blossoms blooming, that's all empty and I don't care.
We'll get to the Blazers here in about 15 minutes, so stick around for that. Drew Holiday's back, but let me know if you've heard this again. A Blazer goes down with an injury, and this, I don't know about this one. We'll get to that in about 15 minutes. But to kind of put a pause in this Oregon-Indiana conversation for a little bit, we'll return in the Big Nooner. Let's slide over to Kurt Cignetti, and I think I love this text that came in. Oregon got Illinois'd. Everyone thought Illinois was going to be a good team, and then Indiana dropped 60 on them, and that narrative changed about Illinois, not Indiana. But now that they have done this to Alabama and Oregon as well, Indiana is really just that good. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I saw, as far as metrics go, offense, defense, special teams, basically like an SP plus type thing, of all the national champions over the last, 30, 40, 50 years.
Where you have to fit in. Yeah.
They are in the top 5, and they are ahead of Tebow Gators. They are ahead of Joe Burrow Tigers. I think it's only like one of the USC teams.
The 04 team. Yeah.
And an Ohio State team. I can't remember when
It's
or what
probably,
it was.
That's probably the, was it the 02 team?
But probably.
Yeah.
But the metrics are
When
telling us
when the talent profile were just
stupid.
stupid.
When the metrics are telling me that this team is as good as any other team to ever exist
In modern college football.
the storyline, and I said it last week and maybe the week before, like, I am so over this. Indiana's such a
Cute
cool
little
story.
fun
Oh
team.
my God, am I over that? And I've been over it for weeks. To watch what they did to Alabama, you're kind of like, this ain't a story anymore. And then to go in and do that again to Oregon, guys, give it up. This is the classic thing we bash on national media about. Guys, give up the dead story.
Yeah.
Nobody cares anymore. In today's world, you can turn a program around in 2 years with a good coach and money. It's not rocket science.
No.
And Cignetti is showing you that. He's giving you the blueprint on how to do it.
Here's the parallel I'll draw locally, and I think it'll expand into something else we talked about last week too. There's another story here with Denny Avdia and what he could be, and it went from this cute story to, we had people texting in the show a couple weeks ago like, Denny's, he's perfectly fine, but he's not that guy. And there's some national media guys right now like, oh well, there's some smoke and mirrors to what Denny's doing, and I'm just like, he's averaging 26, 7, and 8. It's those numbers and his like on-off ratings are literal MVP. Like when it's the same kind of comparison. Like if you were just to take and isolate his production, his efficiency, his on-off rating, his impact to a team, it's an MVP caliber. You're talking about a greatest, like up until a couple guys kind of started going a couple weeks ago, he was performing it legitimately. His on-off numbers were prime LeBron James. Okay. And people are like, well, but this. And it's always like, but, because we don't want to accept something because it doesn't fit with whatever narrative we want. With Sig, the man got on campus last year and told you who he was. I'm a winner. And then he did it. And then he came back this year and told everybody again, buckle up.
They were a cute story last year. They were. They made the playoff, lost in their first game. It was a cute story.
And when they came into Autzen and punched the Ducks in the mouth, some people went, okay, they won the big game. Let's see
what's going on.
But
here.
it was still a lot of the plucky upstart underdog Indiana Hoosiers.
The team that's about to win a national championship and has the Heisman Trophy winner. Like there is, we'll talk about that game throughout the week, especially on next coming Monday when the Natty is. You find me a reason how Miami's going to win this game, please. Please send it in to me
because
I'd love to hear it.
No,
I'd love to hear it. I'm a person who is willing to be wrong, which I was very wrong about this game that just happened on Friday.
I think we all were. I picked Indiana by a touchdown.
We picked it close.
Yeah, I figured Indiana would hold control of the game. I didn't see this.
More than happy to be wrong. I love new information to create new opinions and learning and education and all that kind of stuff. I like to be educated and I love to educate. Please find me something that you're going to tell me how Indiana loses this game.
I don't see any way how Mario Cristobal can figure out a way to win.
And that's what it is. There's a litany of stuff, and this isn't. I don't mean this as a Miami segment. I'm going to take the rushing attack and the offensive line of Indiana. I'm going to take. Do you want Carson Beck or Fernando Mendoza? Okay, Malachi Tony's dope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So are the 3 wide receivers that Indiana has shown you
Whether it's
are
Becker,
primetime
Surratt, or
players.
Cooper.
Exactly. They might not be Mekhi Lemon.
No.
You know, they might not be DeCorian
But
Moore,
we talked about this.
awesome
was
freshman.
like week 7, week 8. Indiana's depth at that position is one
fantastic.
of the best in the country.
I don't see how there's anything, Miami's D-line, cool, really, really good D-line. We've sung praises of that D-line all year.
It's them and Texas Tech as far as having but
They weren't that great against Ole Miss.
this Oregon defensive line, this defensive front, has been one of the best in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And look what Indiana did to them.
Somebody pointed this out. I think it was on the YouTube, might have been Rufio, that Oregon's offensive line finished second in the nation as a unit.
As Joe
Deservedly
Morwood,
so.
yeah.
Deservedly so.
And they got throttled.
Massively exposed. And I don't know if that's just being out-athleted, if that's being
I don't think it's out.
prepared.
I think it's out coached.
I think it's out-coached too.
That's coming full circle back to Sig. Again, I'm just going to keep hammering this point. Dave Bartu has this over the last 4 years. So for those that don't obviously recognize that 4 years would be his 2 years at JMU. So at JMU in his 2 years and his 2 years at
Brought him
Indiana,
up from D2.
it is the best 4-year coaching job that Bartu has in his database. Like Rufio is kind of half joking, I think, on the YouTube of like he's the the next Nick Saban. To be honest, I think he might be
Why
for,
can't he
for
be?
this era. And I'm not talking about winning that many titles, but I'm talking about how well he understands this era of college football.
Well, when do his assistants start getting poaching? How do they do at other jobs, et cetera? When
because
does
Saban turned those over and replaced them real well.
and some of them had success and some of them were bad. Like I present to you Charlie Strong, okay, but I present to you Kirby Smart. Okay, there are guys that were good, there are guys that were not good. And we'll see how that goes. That's how you get to Saban level. It's not necessarily winning titles per se, but what is your impact on the game? And it's safe to say early in this NIL expanded playoff format, Kurt Signetti's written all over it.
I think
all
those,
over it.
I think those are two different conversations in that can he become the next Nick Saban? No, he can't because he's 64 years old and there's just not enough time left.
Sure.
Can he leave his big ass stamp on this game in the next 6 to 7, 8 years? Absolutely. He's already doing it. But the other thing is I don't think that we haven't seen a coaching job over such a short term like we've seen with Kurt Signetti over the last 2 years. I don't believe it's ever happened before. Somebody coming in, busting through the wall like the Kool-Aid man and being like, hey, you know what? College football is mine now, bitch. Just he busted in like the Kool-Aid man.
Here's the thing. Maybe we can talk about this a little bit later. We talked about what winning a title would mean and who it would mean the most for. Do you feel any differently after that game and that ass whooping? Because I would argue damn near everybody does. After what he did to Alabama and then to Oregon.
Well, I guess the only pushback I would say is, does he need a natty to solidify that?
That was my point.
I don't think he
does.
I don't think he does. I think a natty does more for Lanning than it does Signetti.
But I think a win.
Because of the questions we have about Lanning in that. Signetti, if they somehow lose to Miami, even though I'm sitting here telling you I don't see that happening, the story doesn't change for me on Signetti. It doesn't.
But
and look,
it stamps him in a way where he
for
can be. Here's the thing.
And
if Lanning wins,
if this were a 1-score game, this would be an entirely different conversation.
But if
in
Lanning,
terms of, I don't even mean in terms of Signetti, but in terms of like Dan Lanning, this would be an entirely different conversation, of course. But then we get to the old, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Candied nuts.
I'm just going with how Suk says it, so I'm going to go with my Yogi Berra.
I'm going with how I say it.
there you go. But here's the thing: if Lanning had won this game and gets the monkey off his back, so to speak. Does that fundamentally change anything? Because, as you said, Oregon's been building towards this. Because Indiana,
I hear you.
on the other side, to Jeff's point, he Kool-Aid man this thing. He kicked open the door, and in 2 years, he's been able to do what Oregon hasn't been able to do for 15.
20.
Well,
Might
and
argue
he's done
20.
what really
Nobody's
been
done.
able
But
to do.
I'm saying Oregon because they're the one we're
totally.
talking about.
Exactly,
It's like,
absolutely.
Well,
and
but-
that's
but
where the
nobody-
Saban of it all, of like being a defining coach of an era. Right now, he's got this era of NIL transfer portal team building, coaching. He's got it by the throat.
Nobody has ever been able to do what he has done in the last 2 years.
We'll get on
that short of a span.
We'll get out on this, and we'll come back to a little more about the Oregon program going forward. I think you bring up a decent point in the sense that if Lanning wins this game, okay, I don't know if our narrative really changes that much about Lanning.
It's a, hey,
good coach. It's like you did it, but
you got over the hump.
But
With
now
Sid,
it's Oregon.
though,
But now it's Oregon, Miami, and I don't know who wins that game. Okay,
that's the framing.
And let me take it one step further. Lanning wins. That doesn't change a lot of my opinion of Lanning. Lanning loses this game the way he does. My opinion starts to teeter a little. I don't know if I don't want to.
You're not throwing the baby out of the bathwater.
I don't want a knee-jerk reaction.
No.
But boy, I got more questions than I ever did.
I
A
had a
lot
little
more.
bit of a knee-jerk reaction after that, and I had a lot more questions than I ever did, and I don't know that you'll find a bigger Dan Lanning supporter than me.
We'll get to some more Oregon Ducks here in the big nooner. We'll kind of just talk about the program, where they go from here. We'll have Tyson Alger on again on Wednesday, as we always do, and kind of put a bow on the season. But text in your thoughts, 503-864-6326, as the Ducks lose to Indiana in the semifinal of the college football playoff, 56-22. Speaking of losing, and I'm not talking about basketball games, the Blazers, another big hit for them. We'll go there next. 105.1 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Jeff Russ here with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, Wild Card weekend in the NFL wraps up this evening. The Texans visiting the Steelers. That is a 5:15 kick on ESPN and ABC. Houston, 3-point favorites. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Packers and head coach Matt LaFleur expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep him in Green Bay. LaFleur has 1 year remaining on his current deal. Over to college football after a rough weekend for the Ducks. Nebraska transfer quarterback Dylan Raiola is committing to Oregon reportedly. This follows the news of backup quarterback Luke Moga announcing he has entered the transfer portal. ESPN's Pete Thamel reporting former Wesleyan and Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt committing to LSU. He also paid visits to Miami, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And in the association, after having their 5-game win streak snapped on Sunday, the Trailblazers off today. They head to San Francisco for a tilt with the Warriors tomorrow night. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's Window into the Fan.
Hour number deuce. Right here, the firm of Harris and Meringue, 105.1 The Fan, 1080 AM. If you're missing the first hour, you can download that, The Fan Podcast, 1051thefan.com, the Odyssey app, wherever you get your podcasts. It's over on the YouTubes, youtube.com/1051 The Fan. If you missed any of the Sunrise guys this morning, breaking down this Oregon Duck loss, if you want to hear from Andy Dirt Johnson's perspective, you can go catch that wherever you get your podcast, the Odyssey app, or the YouTube rewind, fast forward, except for in the future. That would be impossible. We will get into some NFL as, boy, the sports gods delivered. If you just are, if you're a neutral in everything, it was a great weekend from Thursday through Sunday, and we hope another one tonight in the NFL playoff wildcard round wraps up. But let's get into a little bit of Blazers, Danny, as you know, we definitely wanted to talk about Blazers over the weekend. You know, you get another win against the Rockets. The Knicks come to town, which is always kind of a marquee event, and I found some really fun stats about Jalen Brunson, about how he's a top 10 offensive player in the league, but he's also a top 10 worst defender in the league. And so I was like ready to kind of talk hoops and like really, really talk hoops. And then the news of Drew Holiday being available was, I texted you, I was like, is Drew playing?
Yeah.
You were like, yep. And I was, finally some positivity, if they lose to the Knicks, okay, no big deal.
First time since before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
2 weeks before Thanksgiving.
If they lose to the Knicks, okay, no big deal. They got title aspirations. They're one of the better teams in the East, not the end of the world. And the Blazers played really well in that game, I thought.
did.
Some good ball movement, some good tenacity.
That first half, I was talking to Calabro and Demers at halftime. We usually meet up in the media room as we're going and grabbing our drinks and coming back up, and we all were like, we just got done watching 2 rock fights with the Houston Rockets, and it's great. The Blazers won both those games, but it was like the basketball was not brilliant basketball.
No.
Denny was phenomenal, KD was phenomenal, but it was ugly basketball. The first half of that Blazers-Knicks game was really well executed, very good fundamental basketball. Caleb Love looked like the point god out there, had the half-court lob to Shaden.
That's my Arizona Caleb Love.
Oh, he had the drive and dump off passes to Klingon for the dunks. Defensively, both teams were making
Shaden
plays.
moving the ball around.
Yeah,
that alley-oop, you get a highlight reel from Shaden.
Denny's throwing lob. The Knicks were, Cat was, phenomenal there to start. It was like, good God, man. This is Mitchell Robinson. Donovan Clean was doing a really good job with him in the first half, kept him off the offensive glass. And then the second half happened, and it was like, well, okay, let's see what kind of happens here. And they got back into it, and then
Flat feet landed after getting a rebound. And
so roll it back. The possession before. I'm sitting there watching, and I see Denny go up the court and grab his lower back. I don't know if you
natural
guys.
reaction is always just kind of reach. Can't do anything really.
He felt a twinge. Something happened.
You see somebody pull a groin and they put their hand down there. There's not much you can do, but your natural reaction is just, ow, what is that?
I pulled my groin for the first time. It was like 2 years ago or 3 years. I can't remember what it was. I was playing basketball. Of all the injuries I've ever had, I've never injured my groin. And I felt like this boonk in my groin. And I was like, that's weird. Felt awkward. Didn't like it. But after about 5 seconds of you do a little shuffle shake, you're like, all right, I'm good. I went to open up my hips and it didn't work and it felt like somebody shot me. And I was like, oh, what the hell is that?
Just that jolt of pain
yeah,
flying through you.
and I did, the fat guy version of what Denny did, which was that next possession, Denny kind of elevates for the rebound, gets the full extension, and you can see him kind of wince midair, but the second he lands, he folds like a table.
Mm-hmm.
And he reaches for the back, and he doesn't really stand up again. He does the old man hunch. He tried to kind of walk it off for a split
I was
second.
like, Denny, you look like me right now.
Then he looked to the bench and gave the and straight to the locker room. And you're going, oh, crap.
And
because Chris Murray is in the exact same boat right now. Chris could barely walk when I got in the locker room the other day. His back just seized up on him. And it was just like, what happened, man? He's like, I went up for a rebound.
Yep.
And it's just,
It's not necessarily landing wrong, but it's just impact.
Well, not only that, something was clearly aggravated the possession or two before that caused something. And when he stretched out and came back down, that's the thing about backs. You can be entirely fine, but a disc slips or a nerve gets caught. Like, I've been so lucky. I know it's weird for me to say with all the surgeries I've had. They've all been lower body surgeries. I have avoided back and neck issues. Like, guys, the joke in my unit was when I was in the military was, if you make it out by 30 without a neck or back surgery, consider yourself lucky, because everybody lives through a helicopter crash. Everybody lives through a car crash. You know what I mean? But the problem is you end up getting your spine fused or your neck fused or something along those lines. And I never had that happen. Every one of those guys that I know that has had that surgery is so much worse off than me, because backs are so wild. Did you know that when you have back surgery, I'm talking about like having a fusion or something along those lines, and your lower mid back, the success rate is 50-50. And you know what they consider a success? You staying the same.
Yeah. Not getting worse.
Yes. So spine, back is one of the things medically, like when it comes to sports in particular, that we still have like the least amount of knowledge and sufficiency in repairing and making it better. So anytime I see anybody have a back thing, I'm always like, don't like that, Bob. Not great.
Yeah, and I think when you initially see it, at least my initial thought was like, yep. I mean, it makes sense. Denny's been kind of, for lack of better terms, carrying the team on his back.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, okay, at some point, Denny was going to need a break. Couple games off. There's you were saying this last week that you got 3 nights off this week, and you're kind of like, boy, that's exciting, right? Today, tomorrow, Blazers don't play again until Thursday.
Well, they play tomorrow
Wednesday.
night, but it's a national TV game, so and it's on the road. So
right.
I'm not doing TV and I'm not in the building. So.
Right. But you kind of just think, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Denny probably needs some time off. Everything's going to be okay. Drew comes back. That's another kind of spark in the offense. Obviously, completely different players, but losing Denny, bringing the ball up the court, you have Drew that can do it. Now, I know he's going to get eased back in.
It's a minutes restriction, yeah.
It is definitely a minutes restriction. But you kind of initially think, Denny probably won't miss too much time, a couple games, get him some rest.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
When every time I go back and look at the way he hobbled to the locker room, I have some serious
could
fears. I have some serious fears. And
look, Tiago Splitter, who is he's Belichickian or Popovichian, he played for Pop. He is not like the number of times that when there's been an injury and they're still making a decision with the starting lineup. Do you know who you're starting? Yeah, I do. You gonna tell us? No. For him in the postgame press conference to say, "I'm worried."
yeah,
That made the hair stand up on end. That made the eyebrows go up. And I'm not trying to generate all this fear. I'm just telling you what I feel. Because number one, Denny is tough as nails.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see all of the bumps and bruises, and yes, for the suction that he does all
I
the
was just
time.
about to say the suction cup stuff.
But he's also a guy who plays incredibly physically. This is not a guy that is, avoiding contact. He leads the league in drives. He puts his shoulder into people all the time. Like the thing I always say, he's 6'9", 250, and he uses every last bit of it all the time. He plays very physical. With a back, much like a hamstring or a calf or an Achilles, if you are not 100%, it is a problem. It is a problem because it can, just like that. I mean, Steve Nash's career cratered because his back went.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. I want Denny out as long as it takes for him to get back.
And let's go there. Let's pivot a little bit. Let's stay in the Blazers here because the upcoming future, I think, as much as this team has dealt with injuries, you're still kind of looking at the shines that, Shaden seems to be playing perfectly healthy right now. You have Denny, who's an all-star, etc. Klingon, blah, 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 blah. You get Drew back. What does the next 2-3 weeks look like for the Blazers with no Denny Avdia? Let's stick in the Blazers here. That's Danny. I'm Patrick. We're having a good time on a Monday. 105.1 The Fan. Coming up a little bit more on the show, we're going to stay here in the NBA. We'll get into some NFL as the wild card weekend was pretty rad. We'll get to Packers. Packers Caleb. We're going to have to send you some flowers. Do I owe you a sandwich? Was this our sandwich bet?
You do owe a sandwich.
Damn. What kind of sandwich you like?
We could find a little something.
I mean, I know the sandwich spot I'd love to buy you a sandwich from.
Where's that?
Baker's Mark.
I haven't been there.
There's one on Division and 11th.
Okay.
Which is really great, but there's also one downtown in the Pearl.
Okay, which is not that far away from us.
Excellent sandwiches. The
Okay.
Godfather, Italian is their most famous. I
Oh.
personally love the hot pastrami.
Look, I'm an Italian. I'm an Italian guy. That's right up there with my top Sammys.
Whenever you're ready for a sandwich,
I'm down.
I'll send you to the website and you can pick that out, and I'll pay up. I owe bets and I pay bets. I for some reason got into my cups and put 3 beers down on Oregon beating Indiana, and well, I paid that debt. Fortunately, my friend Emily drinks really cheap canned beer, so I got out on that. Her tab would have been more expensive.
Yeah, there you go.
That's for sure. But let's stick in here in the Blazers. And real quick, before we get back into the Denny Avdia's situation, Drew Holiday made his return. Minutes restriction, obviously. What was the reaction in the arena when Drew came on the court?
Roar,
Yeah, I bet.
roar.
Because I couldn't quite tell from TV.
And then for Drew to get out there, his first shot is a transition pull-up three, and he cans it. It's like, hey, he's back, baby.
He hit a 3 late in that game, too, when Blazers were down 10, I
Yeah,
believe.
it was a
about
transition pull-up three early in the clock.
Under 2 minutes to
Yeah.
go in the game.
They choked that final
I
couple
know,
minutes
I
away.
Well, I would argue that when Denny goes,
They sucked the air out.
it really does.
But it was an 11-0 run from the Knicks where the Blazers, and this isn't just a Blazers thing, a lot of teams in the NBA right now are going to a 3-2 zone. And it's kind of the trend because there's always a trend and everybody's always kind of chasing something and how you change because for years it was getting into drop coverage and now it's getting more away from that. And it's there, for a time period there, it was about blitzing even early in the season, the Blazers had the highest pickup point defensively of any team on record. They were going, 2-1-2, 1-2-2 with their traps and their presses and their blitzes. They were being super aggressive. They've kind of gotten out of that, but the Knicks came prepared for that and were able to dissect that 3-2 zone, and it exposed them because they were making the Blazers move from left to right, and they just hit open threes when they made a move left to right.
Well,
But
I can trash Jalen Brunson all I want. He's a damn good scorer, and not my cup of tea.
and the Blazers played "Bring Me Jalen Brunson," and it worked really well to get looks,
But
they
that-
just didn't hit them.
that Knicks team is competing for a title with
Yeah.
Boston seemingly
Yeah.
down, Hallie out. The East is open, and the Knicks are trying to be that team.
And they came limping into that game. They
And
were
I
not
don't-
playing well.
I don't know who they would play in the finals, but if it's San Antonio, Houston, OKC, Denver, are those our 4 best teams in the West?
Yeah.
I'm sure the Lakers are in there somewhere, but I'm not sold on that team yet. I don't like the Knicks favored, but they are competing for a title.
They're a good team.
And they
There's no
are a
doubt about
good
it.
team. And I think the Blazers, for the most part, had a nice run against them for that game. You're right. When Denny goes down, it sucks the air out of the room. How do your expectations change, Danny, for this team?
How long is he out for? Because that's
Well, that's I know this is terrible, but I'll push back and say I don't know how long.
look, if he's out from now till the All-Star break, that's a problem. That's a problem.
All-Star break is in 6
What,
weeks.
February,
Oh,
like-
so not 6 weeks.
I think it's 13th, 12th or 13th.
I will check right now.
I think it's right around there because it's a week after the deadline. Because they're cowards. We can't have everybody traded at the All-Star game. Why not?
Why not? That'd be fun.
All the GMs, everybody's there. Let them talk.
February 15th.
15th. there you
So 4 weeks.
go. Yeah. So if he's out for a month, which look, it's a back. Guess what? I'm gonna use the magic word for everybody hates. They're tricky.
I know, and you said
You'd rather break a bone.
you said this, and I'll sympathize with you as well and relate to you. A lot of it is Denny for sure, but if it's your back and you're a good player, it's kind of like Drew and that calf. The repercussions are just,
Back it off.
like I understand Scoot and the groin, the hamstring, whatever it might be. Like I get those, and I don't want to diminish the severity of any of those injuries. But I would say in today's world in basketball, your calf and your back, those might be the two most where it's like, yo, brother, take all the time you want.
You got to get it. It's not I can play at 80% and heat it up during the. Do you remember Steve Nash in the
Yep.
the tail end of his career?
Yep.
What was he doing when he was off the floor? Laying on his stomach with a hot compress on his back. Because if he sat and it got compression in it, he couldn't get back up and play. Like, you just have to be so careful with this stuff. And it sucks because Denny was, I think I mentioned this on Friday, talking to national writers, the narrative had flipped. He was an all-star. He still should be an all-star.
I think they'll still reward him.
He's got 40 games.
Might
right
not
now.
be a starter, but he'll get rewarded.
I mean, he finished the night in a so-so night with 25, 5, and 4. Like, that's how good he's been. With 3 steals and a block. Like, he was tremendous last night.
Let me ask you this, though, or this is kind of what I want to get into, and I think this is going to be a wonderful time for this team in this sense. Jeremy's still out for a little bit.
Yeah,
Again, the tendonitis, the Achilles stuff.
Yep.
Again, we're going to take all our time on that. No real timeline. I assume you don't have any update.
He's a day-to-day guy. It's like I try to tell everybody this with
but it could be
Drew.
day to day for 3 weeks
Yeah.
or day to day for 3 games.
Because if there's anything at all, this is what happened with Drew. He tried to ramp up, felt a little something. They're like, nope, because you're protecting against that. It's calf, Achilles, back, hamstring, like that kinetic chain. You just don't, right now, you don't touch it. If they're not 100%, they don't go.
So what I will say is going to happen right now is y'all are going to get to find out what you want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you live in your world, who can be critical, and I think sometimes very fairly critical, or you can be those kids that love the kid on the team.
Mm-hmm.
This is Shaden Sharp time.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think the nice thing about this Blazer team is even though that there is some idea that this could be a play-in team or, the 9th, 8th seed, something like that, that there is some little bit of hope at the end of the tunnel. What has been the most polarizing player we've talked about all season long? Whether it's you,
Shay.
me, the texters out there, the YouTubers, and the fans just in general, it's Shaden Sharp. And so now, if Jeremy's still going to be out for a few games, and let's say Jeremy's out for another 2 weeks, okay? Shaden's going to have to be the dominant scorer. And if you want to know what you got, this is your opportunity. Now, what I hope is Shaden continues to play in a way that he has been. But scoring's going to have to come from somewhere. So can Shaden find this nice balance of being, I'm going to use this phrase, but not that he's not a team player, but being a team basketball player.
Being the lead creator.
Moving the ball around, being better off the ball, passing, taking threes when they're smart.
He's only done this once in his career. It was 2 years ago. In the first, was it 27 games he played before he got shut down for the surgery? Everybody was hurt. And he was like, well, here's the offense. And his first, I want to say 6-7 games of that were a tire fire. And it was like, oh, this is rough. And then something started to click. And he started to understand how defenses were playing him and where they were pushing him and how he needed to manipulate things in the pick and roll. Like, I charted every single one of his passes in a pick and roll over that period. And the staggering majority of his passes through those first 6 or 7 games were lateral passes. They were not aggressive passes. They were not penetrating passes, either from the paint and out or from outside and in. Those are creation passes. When you make passes from outside in or inside out, when you work in the pick and roll and you turn the corner and the defense steps up and you just do the sideways pass, that's not a creation pass. That's a, well, I don't have anything, I got to give it up pass.
So somebody else is going to have to figure it out.
That's the thing. It's like, can he take what he learned from that period and be the guy that steps into that role where how many of Denny's passes are creation passes? A lot of them.
A lot of them.
You know how I know that? Because he leads the NBA in potential assists.
And that's what's going to be really fascinating. And I'll tell you what, losing Denny sometimes makes, I think for an average fan, might make it really tough to watch the Blazers night in,
Oh,
night
it's going
out.
to be tough.
It's going to be tough. But if you want a reason to watch, that's it. I mean, that's it. Whether you're critical as you have been again, and most of the time rightly so, or you've been kind of the fanboy that a lot of our listeners are when it comes to Shaden, this is your chance. This is your chance to see what he can do when he has to be number one, right? Where else are these points coming from? You can't rely on Caleb Love to be like this every night. When Caleb has nice nights, the Blazers win most of their games. I've seen a stat something where it's like, if he makes more than 3 threes a game or something weird like that, the Blazers win. You can't rely on him to do that every single night. This is going to have to be Shaden, and maybe you get some extra offensive input from Donovan, who has been rising steadily better, especially on the glass on both sides instead of just being kind of one-dimensional on the rebound side. And as Drew starts to ramp back, can you get enough scoring output to counter what you're losing from Denny? No, not from a singular spot, but maybe from a team spot. This team becomes really fascinating with Denny out.
Well, fascinating is certainly a way to put it.
As my wife always says, that's fast and loose playing with the term fascinating.
Yeah, it's it's going to be tough. They're already limited on creators.
Mm-hmm.
Getting Drew back is
huge,
monumentally helpful, even on a minutes restriction.
But we thought that because with Denny giving him a break,
it was like, there's a release valve. You don't have to be like, Shaden, please save us in these minutes. Please work it, or Caleb, please save us in these minutes. So it's, you have taken one of the highest usage guys in the NBA, one of the largest creation guys in the league, and been, for those wondering, I have asked the Blazers if we were getting an update. Shrug.
Yeah.
Like, it's not them like passing the buck. Just don't know if we're getting an update today.
Real quick, Denny out. Let's say Denny's out till the All-Star break.
Mhm.
Does this change any trade plans?
No, it won't do that because
Plan is still the plan. Whatever they're thinking inside, whether they are trading or not trading, this doesn't change anything.
because this isn't a team that's
Built
going
to
for a
win now.
title. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and to be totally fair, this organization is not a team that usually conducts a ton of business at the trade deadline. They usually do it to, I want to use their vernacular here, to scour the landscape for transactions that end up happening usually in the summer.
Take a look around.
Yeah, understand what teams are looking at now and then kind of going forward. Like, look, John Morant is on the table. Not for the Blazers, but I mean in the NBA.
They want a first for him. Good luck.
Giannis is out there, and that's still lingering over stuff. I don't think we're going to get those trades by the deadline, especially Giannis. But the thing always to remember, why would the Blazers be motivated to make some sort of move at the trade deadline right now unless it was like an absolute no-brainer? Like, Amen Thompson is available from the Rockets, and the Blazers are like, yeah, we'd love to have that. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Guys like that don't come available.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, you can't say that anymore.
I guess that's
Luka.
true.
You can't say that anymore.
God, I always still want to believe
Trust
it.
me,
Then
I do the same thing.
You just drop Luca, and you're like, oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
anyone can be like. So you do the necessary due diligence, you do the legwork, and do all those things. But what do the Blazers control? The Bucks draft future.
And
So-
that's looking nicer and
So
nicer by the
why
day.
would you give up any of that stuff right now unless the return is just like that's a
Unbelievable.
slam dunk? We'll absolutely do that.
Blazers take on the Warriors tomorrow, 8 o'clock. It's a Peacock game on NBC as well, so tune into that. National games are always fun when your team is a part of that, and Peacock's doing a pretty good job with NBA basketball, so that'll be fun. Take a peek at them. When we come back, let's get into final. I can't believe, Danny's been an hour and a half. We haven't even got to the NFL yet. Haven't even got to the NFL. Where should we go here? Deet to deet. Let's go.
I know where to go.
Let's go to Chicago. Let's pay up that sandwich bet as the Packers blow it. But Caleb, boy, he looked real good. There's the Kahuna with sports.
Hamburgers, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, Wild Card Weekend in the NFL wraps up this evening. The Texans visiting the Steelers, 5:15 kick on ESPN and ABC. Houston, 3-point favorites in this one. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Packers and head coach Matt LaFleur expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep him in Green Bay. LaFleur has 1 year remaining on his deal. Over to college ball. It was a rough weekend for the Ducks, but Nebraska transfer quarterback Dylan Raiola has committed to Oregon. This follows the news of backup quarterback Luke Moga announcing he has entered the transfer portal. ESPN's Pete Thamel reporting former West Linn and Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt committing to LSU. He also paid visits to Miami, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And after having their 5-game win streak snapped on Sunday, the Trailblazers off today. They head to San Francisco for a tilt with the Warriors tomorrow night. The Blazers are 19-21. That is 9th in the Western Conference. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rusk from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of dirt and spray. Weekday morning, 6 to 10 a.m. The Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
right, coming up next is Web Gems, everybody's favorite. I need a miracle. Boy, the Bears looked like they needed a miracle there for a moment. The Packers were kind of just walking all over them. Caleb looked rough. The offense couldn't get anything going. Their Packers defense looked fantastic.
They did. They were flying all over the place. And then, unfortunately for the Bears, TJ Edwards goes down. They got the air cast out, and you're like, oh, crap.
That's a meaty air cast, too, all the way up to his hip.
When you see an air cast like that, that's a pretty nasty injury.
The Bears couldn't run the football. Caleb looked, again, like my biggest complaint on Caleb is sometimes he's just too fast. Slow down. And I felt that a little bit in
interception,
that game.
he makes the fourth down conversion, the absolute dot over the middle to DJ Moore. And you're just like, oh, okay, Ben Johnson. Because remember, they went for it on fourth twice, and you're just like, oh, okay, they're being aggressive. And they went for it in their own territory. It was like, damn, they want this.
The patented Ben Johnson flea flicker showed its life there, too.
But
didn't go well, but showed itself.
But on that interception, that's the first time I think I've seen Caleb be visibly pissed. He was pissed at DJ Moore. I don't know if he was supposed to run the post there. Now, look, this isn't me making an excuse for Caleb because he could have just thrown it to DJ Moore. He was open there. But he clearly anticipated him bending that back inside underneath the safety because he threw it right to the DB. Hilariously, the DB making the interception cost the Packers like 24, 26 yards because it was fourth down.
I know you always want to be like, bat the ball down, bro.
You can't fault the guy for making a play, but you can fault the guy for making a play because it's the NFL. But I'm sitting there going, oh no, Caleb, don't do this. Don't do this. But the way that he played in that second half was God tier. The clip that is going out it's the pass to Rome Odunze on 4th and 8. It's one of the best throws I've ever seen. Everybody's like, oh, you're a USC guy. It's hyperbole. I can't remember the last time I saw a guy layer a pass with his legs wrapped up.
Yeah, he kind of almost back-footed Aaron Rodgers, that thing.
It's not even that because he can't step into it. He can't plant. He can't do anything. And he throws it over the linebacker underneath to a perfect throw to Odunze. And it was just like on 4th and 8, rolling to his left. Like everything about that in the history of the NFL, for me, the guys that I think can make that throw, it's Rodgers, it's Mahomes, it's Elway, it's like you're talking about the best arms in the history of the game. Like that's where I always go with Caleb.
George.
The high-end talent.
Yeah.
The stuff that he can do is just like that's insane.
It's 21-3 at halftime. Packers are up. It's 21-6 going into the fourth quarter.
And then 25.
So something does need to be said about the Packers here. I don't remember who it was. I think it's a DB for Green Bay. I can't remember who it was. Kind of called it like how he saw it at the end of the game. He took a ton of shots at the Chicago Bears. I think you have to acknowledge that Caleb was phenomenal in the fourth quarter. But he said, the Bears don't do S. We did not play well. We S the bet on that. And I think there is some reality in that. This Packers team was shutting Caleb and the Bears down. They couldn't run the football. Caleb couldn't do anything. They got out to a big lead. And then what happened? Missed field goals,
which is
can't convert.
It's been a problem for the Packers this year. They've had multiple 9+ point leads. I think they've had 6 of them this year.
It's like
they've blown.
It's like Philly. Okay, all of a sudden the second half rolls around and Jordan Love and that offense can't do a thing. The fact that the article that I'm reading this morning, the notification I get this morning that the Packers are looking to extend Matt LaFleur, what about that game makes you want to do that? I know I've been harder on LaFleur than most people have, but if I'm a Packer fan and I read that, the only thing worse is hearing if the Eagles are bringing back their offensive coordinator. Like, I am so done with Matt LaFleur after that game because he could not stop. It's like the game was moving into a direction where he saw the Bears gaining some momentum.
Lost the rope.
And he couldn't do anything about it. And he's just kind of standing there going, it reminds me when Lane got fired, where Lane is standing there in the middle of the field and no one's around him and he's got this look on his face that says, OS, I'm getting fired. That's how LaFleur kind of handled that.
Well, I'll tell you right now, who wants to see Matt LaFleur back? Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. He's got him.
Because here, that fourth quarter, Bears start the fourth quarter with a field goal. 3 and out for Green Bay, minus 10 yards punt. Next possession for the Bears, 7 plays, 66 yards, touchdown in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Packers respond. And you're thinking, okay, They're back in this. They're up 27-16.
Missed extra point. Don't forget that.
Yes.
Missed extra point on that touchdown.
Next Bears drive, 10 plays, 76 yards, 2 minutes, 18 seconds. Then you get 8 plays, 43 yards from the Packers.
2-point
Missed
conversion
field
as
goal.
well on
Yes.
that touchdown by the Bears.
Missed field goal by the Packers, but they only take a minute 27 off the clock. Bears come back again, 6 plays, 66 yards in a minute and 8 seconds. Touchdown. Caleb.
It was really impressive. I don't know if I'm ready to sit here and call him a top 10 quarterback, but I am willing to eat some crow. I'm willing to say that Caleb
to be
showed me
clear,
a lot.
He was not good in the first half.
No, and that's probably where I'm still going to be a little hesitant when it comes to Caleb, that I want to see the complete package. It's similar to Bo. Bo's similar this way. There's a lot I like about Bo, but there's a lot that drives me crazy about Bo. And some of that is the slow start, kind of not getting it going. But when it counts, damn, it counts. Because the Bears have shown you all year. They're the commies from last year. The Bears have shown you if they got a chance to win this game at the end, put your money on them. Because Caleb has made throws and made plays that you're looking for 3 quarters, and then he does. And who gives an S? Because I'm looking at the scoreboard, and the Bears just won the football game.
And we talked about Caleb being the game manager and not making mistakes. He had the 2 picks, but this wasn't 224 yards. This is 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and probably 6 throws in that game where you just went, holy crap.
25 points in a quarter.
And fast. That was the thing that I wonder if that's something. We keep talking about slowing Caleb down. What if speeding him up is actually the right thing?
I don't know about that.
But you know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
When he doesn't have when he just has time to play Caleb Williams ball. Look what he did.
Maybe the speed up is making him uncomfortable, but if he can get comfortable in that speed up, then maybe you're onto something.
Maybe it's a processing thing. Maybe he's not good at the slow, methodical, do the thing. And to be clear, he needs to get better at that, because relying on God-given ability over and over and over again will bite you. It just will.
Can we also not forget this is his second year in the league?
Yes, but that's to my point of like,
did Drake May really wow you yesterday?
No.
The throw to Henry at the end was a nice throw, but he didn't really wow me.
No, I tell you what, a throw that wowed me. There's 2 throws this weekend that wowed me.
Caleb Durham
and Stafford to the tight end for the Rams. Those are 2 throws because Morig was right there. It was inch perfect.
Do you like this Bears team to continue this run, or do you think that might be the juice?
I think that's I don't like their defense, which is a weird thing to say about the Bears. But we talked about this, and I've kind of tried to hammer this point. This Bears offense has been this all season. They finished top 10 in basically every category. Like, they score, they run the ball, they throw the ball. Like, they're a very good offense, despite what Caleb not just missing out on 4,000 passing yards. You know what I mean? Like, but the weapon. I mean, we've gone this far, and who have we talked about? Loveland. Loveland was an absolute monster.
He's the blanket. He's Caleb's blanket.
Goodness gracious!
Look, Rome made that great catch, which was an awesome throw from Caleb. But Odunze's been up and down all year. The talent's there.
He's been dinged up, so I'm going to give him that.
But the talent's there. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And you know that kills me to say.
And Caleb had 2 throws to Loveland that were just made you just go.
But Colston Loveland, 8 catches, 137 yards.
15 targets.
Yeah. Okay, no touchdowns, but I'm not worried about that.
I don't care about
that. That's Caleb's blanket. And it's funny that you live in a world where, no shock, the big tight end body becomes a young quarterback's best friend. And you could argue maybe that's what Jordan Love is missing on that offensive side of the ball.
Well, there's no craft.
There's no craft. And we're learning Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels showed you that a tight end means a lot with Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. Antonio Gates is a Hall of Famer. Same with Tony Gonzalez. But the league didn't really follow suit. They were just like, oh, what a cute little unicorn.
It's impossible to find Travis Kelce or Gronk. It's so rare.
But now there are maybe not Kelce and Gronks, but there's Colston Lovelands. There's Goddard from Philly. The tight end is now, obviously not everybody is Brock Bowers.
Well, we're getting back
Kyle
to
Pitts.
running the ball again too, where the tight end in the running game and playing with 2 tight end personnel and going to heavier sets. Like, the ebb and flow of the NFL. We're away from the air raid NFL era, and we're back in a little bit more traditional. Obviously, we're not going. Although I would say we're not going full house. But Ben Johnson quite literally went full house and had 3 guys in the backfield, and I was like, that's interesting.
503-864-6326. The Packers will hide behind, quote, our defense wasn't fully healthy, end quote. That'll give them more time, along with making the playoffs every year. It's the 7th seed, but still the playoffs. They can live in mediocrity, and I think that's a real thing. They do need to get healthy, okay? There's no doubt about that. But you ain't seeing Micah until over halfway the season next year. So you're going to need more than Micah on that defense. And as much as I thought Golden had a nice game yesterday offensively, they need weapons. They need weapons. And Matt
it can't just be Kraft coming back.
And Matt LaFleur, you want to give him one more year? Okay, fine. You want to give him 1 year? You're fine. Talking about extensions, you might just be pooping money away when you decide to move on. Because if he does this again next year, dude, it's one thing to blow a lead that late in a game. It's another to do it against your rival.
Yeah, right.
You can't do it.
Again.
You can't do it. You got Ben Johnson in the locker room yelling, F them Packers, F them Packers. The handshake at the middle of the field. Like, I know it's cool, and you can talk about, you do this when it comes to Oregon SC, about SC and the history. Look, the Packers can claim their history's better than the Bears all they want, and it is phenomenally, largely better than the Bears. But you got your ass whooped when you shouldn't have.
Yep.
And it always stings in the now, way more than it does. Packers can sit there and say, hey, well, okay, well, we've owned you forever. Aaron Rodgers is undefeated against you, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're home. And they're advancing. And Caleb looks really good.
You got trunk monkeyed in the fourth quarter.
Yep. You can't blow games like that.
And the Packers have made a habit of that, particularly this year.
When we come back, we'll get into Web Gems. We'll take a little hiatus from football. We'll get back to the Ducks and the Big Nooner as well, plus some more NFL wild card action on a absolutely loaded Monday here on the firm of Harris and Rang on Portland Sports Leader, the Fan Sports Network. All right, this Web Gem's everybody's favorite. Do it every single day at 11:45. I know I tease it, but I'll do it again. Coming up in the Big Nooner, where the Ducks go from here, as we'll kind of put a bow on the weekend that was for the Ducks and the end of their season. A lot of good stuff to talk about. There's quarterback transfer portal news this morning that broke, and also your entire defensive line is coming back. So there are positives. We'll have a little conversation about Dan Lanning as well. Plus, we'll get to Eagles, Niners, and Joshua says, where's the nearest phone booth? Because it's time to put the cape on. So a lot more NFL to get to, but also a little bit of college football. Web Gems today, something just kind of tiny that I got really excited about over the weekend. Not my favorite player. I think a lot of people that aren't Houston Astros fans don't really love Alex Bregman, But he kind of shocked the baseball world a little bit in signing with the Cubs in a 5-year, $175 million deal. 70 of it deferred. It's $35 million a year, not counting deferral. I think what's most fascinating about this is something that's really cool that doesn't happen very often and hasn't happened for a while. Your number 1 overall and number 2 overall picks in the same draft now play on the same team.
I thought you were
Dansby Swanson and Alex Bregman.
Well, I thought you were going to say that the thing that doesn't happen very often is that you get to talk baseball coming out of wild card weekend in the college football playoff. You said you were at a bar when the news broke and we were watching a playoff game. Like, hey, Bregman went to the Cubs, and everybody there who were baseball fans basically told you to shove it. We don't care.
We're all in a dynasty league together, and everybody's like, Patrick, just not now, buddy.
Yeah. No.
And to their defense, they were like, who played third base for the Cubs last year? And I went, because I completely forgot that it was Nico Horner, because I am not in baseball mode. But I think it's interesting, and what's most fun about it, and I hate to pile on boss man Cooley's Red Sox, is that they lost out on their guy who kind of fit that stadium perfectly, kind of was the veteran that they needed. They traded Rafi Devers because of Bregman. You remember that whole situation?
Yeah. Not moving.
They traded their best player because they thought Bregman was going to be a Red Sox. And nobody saw the Cubs coming out of it. I'm glad to see the Cubs are spending money. But that game, that broke shortly before the Cubs or the Bears won that game against the Packers. So, the kids in Chicago had themselves a nice little weekend.
I mean, good for the city of Chicago. Like, I would say the city of Chicago had a better weekend than the city of Eugene.
You hate the Cubs too.
I do.
I totally forgot about that.
But no, did you see Ayo Dosunmu for the Bulls? At the end of his game, the Bears are down 21-6.
Okay.
And he's doing his walk-off interview, and he goes, and now watch the Bears make a comeback.
He called it.
He called it. He Babe
after
Ruthed
the
it.
Bulls game.
Called that. So you had the Cubs obviously making the move for Bregman. The Bears make that comeback. The Bulls, and Dosunmu gets to do the call off while, Duck fans had a rough game in theirs. And
sure.
Herbert kind of got Herberted in the playoffs. We'll get to that game here in a little bit. It's always weird when you see when the New England, that general area, when the Patriots were winning everything and the Celtics were winning titles.
Bruins
and the
knocked a couple titles, yep.
And you're just like, God, I hate that region.
Celtics, yep.
Like it happens. Like, LA for a while, they had it rolling and you're just like, I'm really tired of this. And it's like, you just get but for Chicago, it's like, it's been a while. It's been a while.
It does feel like Chicago of the big cities is the one that kind of gets pooped on the most.
Yeah, it's like, the Cubs went a long time.
A very long time. And
the Bulls haven't done anything since Jordan.
And real quick, Bregman's going to be great in that stadium. We'll see how the wind faces, but him going to left field should be quite nice. He should be a great piece for that team and a huge boost offensively. But you talk about Wrigley being, one of the most famous venues in all of sports.
Sure.
Worldwide. Not just in America, but worldwide.
It's a dump, but it's famous.
As much as I loved watching that Bears-Packer game, at Soldier Field, I can't help but think how weird it's going to be when they play in a dome.
Having that whole thing figured out and having the new stadium, it was going to be right there on the lake and all that kind of stuff, and then to completely have it fall apart. Now they're going into a dome. And you're just like, what the hell? It's like the Chiefs. The Chiefs are moving out of Arrowhead into small town on the other side in another state, and you're just like,
at least the Meadowlands didn't turn into a dome.
Yeah.
It got me thinking, there aren't many college programs that play in domes either.
Well, they aren't trying to host a Super Bowl.
Understood.
You mean the Meadowlands where both New York teams play in New Jersey?
But what I mean, it's like, University of Minnesota, they play outside. It gets cold there. You go places and they play outside. And I wish more NFL teams played outside. I'd love to see the Vikings play outside. I want the Bears to be playing outside.
Yeah, but they can't do that because they want to host a Super Bowl.
Everybody just... Dude,
but who wants to be in the whole idea of Minnesota Super Bowl in February? No, I don't want to do that.
Money.
Yeah, the NFL is sitting there going, we can do Dallas, we can do Atlanta, we can do Miami, we can do San Francisco.
Minnesota hosted that Super Bowl. Okay, they hosted that Super Bowl, got what they wanted.
Detroit,
their stadium is really gorgeous.
Hey, did you know that Jerome Bettis is from Detroit?
Yeah, it turns out.
Thank you. You know what everybody did that Super Bowl media week? Bitch about how cold it was outside.
Nobody wants to be there above the Mason-Dixon line in February.
So if you're going to play a Super Bowl in a cold weather town and everyone's just going to bitch about how cold it is not at the game, then play the game outside. This is football.
Well, you imagine, let's say the Bucks or the Dolphins end up playing a Super Bowl in Chicago.
Listen,
in February.
here's the
Remember
thing
the
about
Colts
people.
played in a pouring rain with Purple Rain. And,
Here's
and
the
Prince
thing
at
about
halftime.
people bitching about where a Super Bowl gets played. Do you want to know all the people that go to those games? Corporate people with they're there on their company's money and they got too much damn money anyway. There is not any like
There
are very, very few like regular fans at the Super Bowl. I don't care where it is, what year it is, whether it's in Indianapolis, Detroit, Jacksonville, Arizona, San Francisco, what have you. It's very, very, very few like regular football fans. It's all the money people. So who cares?
Alex Bregman, 5 years, 175 Chicago, huh? Get your sports pants tight.
Yeah. Look, you want to talk about somebody changing teams? We had some breaking news about a quarterback. Old Sammy Levitt.
Sam Levitt to LSU. Didn't see that one coming.
Well, that was a little bit of a surprise.
I don't know if it's a surprise.
A little bit of a surprise.
You know what was a surprise for me? That we don't know anything about Dante Moore, yet Oregon brings in another quarterback. You want to go there?
Let's do it.
Big Nooner is next. The future of the Oregon Ducks program, where they go from here after getting destroyed by Indiana in a college football playoff semifinal. Big Nooner is next. Stick with us. 105.1 The Fan.
I'm Pat Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan Wild Card weekend of the NFL wraps up this evening. The Texans visiting the Steelers. It's a 5:15 kick on ESPN and ABC. Houston are 3-point favorites. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Packers and head coach Matt LaFleur expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep him in Green Bay. He has 1 year remaining on his contract over to college ball after a rough weekend for the Ducks. Nebraska transfer quarterback Dylan Raiola apparently committing to Oregon. This follows the news of backup quarterback Luke Moga announcing he has entered the transfer portal. ESPN's Pete Thamel reporting former West Linn and Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt committing to LSU. He also paid visits to Miami, Tennessee, and Kentucky, and over in the association. After having their 5-game win streak snapped on Sunday, the Trailblazers now off today. They head to San Francisco for a tilt with the Warriors tomorrow night. The Blazers 19-21 on the season. That is 9th in the Western Conference. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of Ducks game day. Before and after every Ducks football game this season. The Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
All right, 2 down, 1 to go here. The firm of Harris and Meringue. We do this every single day from 10 to 1 p.m. Happy to have you along. We appreciate you with us. After us, we'll throw it over to Duck Insider. That'll be an interesting one today with Joey Mack and the crew down there in Eugene. After that, we'll give it to the Fan Happy Hour with Luke Anderson from 2 to 3. And then you know what I'm going to say. Prime time, baby, 3 to 7. A Suk and Nemec edition today is what I am told. If that is the truth, I hope so. If not, I apologize to the great Isaac Rupp. But I believe that's what's going on today. They'll take you all the way home to finish up 13 hours of live, local, continuous, regional sports talk radio right here on the Fan Sports Network. This hour, we will get to the Eagles and Niners. We'll get to Joshua playing Superman again. And we'll just continue our walk through what was just an amazing wild card weekend. But let's finish up. Let's recycle back to the Oregon Ducks as they lose a bad one to Indiana, kind of in a borderline embarrassing fashion. Now let's get to a little pause.
You drop that borderline off that right now. When you were up 30 plus for the majority of the game, there's nothing borderline about it. You got hammered.
21-7 in the second quarter, and I was like, and I'm out. Let's do a little positive here if you're the Oregon Ducks going forward.
Why?
Why? Because transfer portal stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And people coming back, okay? Your entire defensive line is coming back.
Yeah.
Amari Washington,
they've
Bear
got
Alexander.
A lot of guys coming back.
Mateo Uyunglele.
Nice little.
Tatum Tuioti. Tuioti, excuse me.
It's not a cherry on top, but it helps you lick your wounds a little bit.
It does, especially because some of your, the Oregon Duck defense did not play well against Indiana in that game at all. However, those 4 plus Brandon Finney, Thieneman and Betcher, you're probably going to lose.
No, I mean, Thieneman's NFL bound.
Thieneman's NFL bound, yes. Probably going to lose those guys, but, to hold up a fat majority of what that really good defense was all year is a big plus.
That was pretty young for the most part. So you're going to lose the guys at the middle. You're going to lose Amari, you're going to lose Betcher, you're going to lose Thieneman.
The Amari surprised me. He's coming back.
Well, yeah.
It surprised me because he looked like a first-round pick.
That's what they're saying. So, but I
had him at Houston.
Yeah, well, I mean, go be a psychopath there. But like you had to replace the spine in Thieneman and Betcher. Like it's not easy to do.
No, it's really not. Those guys mean so much to that defense.
It's experience too, because if we're talking about,
they're basically linebackers that play safeties.
I mean,
safeties that play linebackers.
Yeah, they're playmakers. Like that's what they are. But they're experienced and they're heady. And what I've seen a lot of Oregon fans, the thing they kind of fall back on is like, well, we're so young. You are. You are young, and you were drastically younger than Indiana. I would argue you should probably hit the transfer portal and go get some old guys.
Yeah, you might be, because on that note, they got a tight end out of Penn State who was a true freshman last year. That's not the old guy that you're asking for. His name escapes me. I apologize on that. But the big news is the Ducks land Dylan Raiola today in the quarterback room. And the interesting thing about how this quarterback room has worked over the last few years for the Oregon Ducks is it doesn't necessarily mean Dante's gone. It doesn't necessarily mean that Raiola is going to beat him out for the job.
I mean, it was explicitly stated that if Dante comes back, Raiola will sit behind him just like Dante did for Dylan.
And that's a fascinating thing because who else is doing that?
Well,
Hoover's going to start at Indiana next year.
Well, if you're Dylan Raiola, you just saw what it did for Dante.
Mm-hmm. In terms of prospect and NFL bound, I mean, that's what Raiola wants. Look, Raiola's not my cup of tea. He's got a cannon of an arm, definitely can throw the deep ball well. I just haven't kind of seen it from him, although he is young.
Olish was the tight end. I couldn't think of his name either. Andrew Olish from Penn State.
Thank you. His antics are not quite my jam. The very opposite of Dante Moore.
Mm-hmm.
But this Duck team going forward, I think there needs to be a conversation about culture, preparation. You can maybe say the right things, but is it always coming through the same as what you're saying? I think and rightfully so, Dan Lanning gets a lot of credit nationally, not just locally, but nationally, for being a really great coach. Obviously a great recruiter, obviously a great rah-rah leader, believes in culture, understands. And, with a little help of Mario Cristobal, this team was in a rough spot post-Helfrich, okay? Helfrich kind of emptied the cabinet. Willie Taggart, say what you want about him. Mario helped build things up, and Dan took it to the next level. But here you are. One positive I will say, you did better than you did last year, but results still the same. That's still an embarrassing loss on national television against a team that's probably going to win a national title. Now, I think I saw something like it's been 1,162 days since Oregon lost to a team that didn't play in the national championship because they lost to UW twice in 23. They went to the Natty. They lost to Ohio State last year. They won the Natty. They lost to Indiana this year twice, who's going to the Natty. So you're losing to the quote-unquote best of the best. But when does that stop being okay? And I think it has to be now. I think it does.
That's the drum I've been beating for the longest.
I know.
I have my fun on air. You know how I feel about this.
I don't want to just bury the Ducks. I don't want a knee-jerk reaction. But you are now getting to the point where even me, who's trying to play both sides and maybe even lean a little Ducks, as I know a lot of you listeners out there care so much about that program, I'm running out.
Yeah.
Dan
Lanning is
running out of things to say.
He's not James Franklin.
No, not at all.
But Mario Cristobal?
Fair.
How many of these games does he need to lose? And look, I don't like most of the young Duck fans. Your program, I don't have a beef with. I have zero beef with Dan Lanning. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in college football. I think he's a phenomenal coach. But he has got to figure it the hell out because in every single one of these rematch games, he has gotten punked.
We talked about, I think it was us fairly recently that talked about the movie Spanglish. Is that correct? Adam Sandler, Ted Leone, and whatnot.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, I like it. We enjoy it. It's a movie that we watch in the Rust household. But so after this game, though, on Friday night. There is one specific quote from that movie that struck to me greatly. And it was Adam Sandler, and he said, "I am beginning to run out of excuses for the lady of this house." And I love Dan Lanning and everything that he has done there. But in some of these big games and big games with big layoffs,
they haven't been close. It's not even like, it's not Cristobaling in the sense of like
beginning to run out of excuses for the lady of this house.
And it's not oh, he mismanaged the game. He was never there. For me, that's the bigger thing because you want to extol all the virtues of Dan Lanning, what he's done in the trenches, the culture he's built, the recruiting profile, the guys he's put in the NFL.
If my kid says, "Dad, I want to go play football at Oregon for Dan Lanning," I say, "Go, have a great time."
You know what I mean? Like all of those things.
Go,
totally stoked. Yeah, I'm totally stoked. My kid's going there.
But in these big games, they have gotten punked. And it's not a Cristobal like, oh, he got conservative in his play calling, or oh, it was clock management.
Someone blew it at the end of the game.
It hasn't even been close.
It's two different teams on the field.
That's the thing that I can't reconcile. Because as we've said, the Ducks are the only team in college football over the last 3 years that have won 12 games or more.
And let me ask this: can't there be a world where maybe it's just bad luck? That maybe Oregon continues to run into teams that have a bigger destiny than them.
Okay,
I mean, to an extent, yeah.
And this is not just a landing thing.
If all three are in the Natties and two of them won, assuming Indiana wins,
Sure.
which I do, you can argue that Lanning's not winning those big games, rematches, et cetera, whatever you want to call them. But at the same time, they're running into champs or damn near champs.
Okay.
It's a little bad luck. It's a big shout out to the Big Ten too,
But also counterpoint. When
the Pac-12.
when we talked
little
about
conference.
the difference between Indiana doing this in 2 years, where I was like, yeah, I think it's insane. Where you're like, it would put the cherry on top for the Ducks doing this over the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's been Lanning, whether it's been Cristobal, whether it's been Kelly.
Helfrich took them to a Natty.
Yeah.
Are
But-
you also okay with getting to that point and having basically, essentially at this point, every time you get there, that other team tussling your hair and being like,
But
cute.
that's kind of my point of like, it's not the Ducks are not a bad program. They're
No.
one of the best programs. They're one of the top 10 programs in the country
Easily.
every
They are.
single
They
year.
absolutely are.
I will give them all their flowers in this. But maybe it's because we're here. And maybe because they're a likable brand and all those things. Why aren't we calling it ducking it? Why is it Clemsoning it? Why is it
Don't you say it.
Why isn't it Couging it? Because the Ducks in every single one of these big games have not shown up under Lanning.
Well, I think that's what makes it really, really difficult.
I don't think
it's
we
not,
can say every single game,
But
because there
it-
have been ones where they showed up. And look, we can go back in hindsight and say that Penn State didn't turn out the way that they were supposed to be.
It's still a
but
tough
going
game.
into that,
I'm going to die on that hill. That's a tough game. That's a good
well,
win.
no, and going into that, they were still a top 10 opponent, and they went in there and they whooped their ass at Penn State. Well, whatever. They went in and they won.
Double
They
overtime
went
win. I don't know.
whatever.
Good ass.
Whatever. They went in and they won. So that was one of those.
But
was one of those.
To that point,
so
though.
they don't like just blow all of these. There are some where they do go.
That's fair.
And
That's
win.
fair. But the ones that they are losing, they're getting embarrassed.
And that's what I
They
was
are
going to
getting
say.
their asses whooped.
I
Yes,
think
that
that's
is
what
fair.
makes it really tough in the moment, which is why I don't want a knee jerk.
It's
Which is why I don't want
the
it.
Franklin thing was like they just lose games.
Now these games that we're talking
Are
about
massive.
massive
They're
games.
massive games, but it's not even showing up.
And that's the problem, is that aesthetically, if you're a Duck fan, it hurts.
Remember,
If you're a
Washington was
Duck
out
hater, you
early on
laugh.
them, and the Oregon closed the gap at the end of the game, the Pac-12 title game, made that closer. But it's,
I mean, what was quicker, the pick six from Indiana or Jeremiah Smith in Ohio
it's
State?
a pick six, but it's
Obviously,
like
it's the
by,
first play.
by a couple plays.
But I mean, and I think that's why it's tough. And I don't want to bury the program. I don't want to bury
No,
Lanning.
God, no.
But to your point, it's tough because when they happen, they're over quickly, and you look outmatched, you look out schemed. Whether you are or aren't is beside. The aesthetic of it is really, really
Once,
challenging.
Okay. Twice, not great. 3 times, that's a problem. 4 times, what the hell is going on? 5? 5? 5 times? That's a problem. Look, again,
Are we putting
I
this
love
in are we putting this in like a Ryan Day territory?
that.
Ish.
Maybe that's
Ish.
because it's not Franklin.
But he got one.
Yeah, you're
Ryan
right.
Day got
no,
one.
Again,
If Ryan Day has a bye next year and loses his first game, it's going to be very, very loud in Columbus.
Yes.
It's going to be very, very loud
and
in
I'm not
Columbus.
calling for Lanning's head.
No.
I'm not even saying he's on a hot seat.
No,
But
God, no.
If you have questions right now,
I tell you one thing: there was probably some people after
Sure.
that game that
I
are
mean,
like, "Oh, his
the
his
knee
butt
jerk will
should
be
a
there.
little
There are
warm."
people in this world that think Mike Vrabel didn't do enough and maybe he's not the right guy for Drake May. There's people
like,
that
yeah.
say stupid stuff all the time.
but to have questions about Dan Lanning after that game is entirely fair. It isn't.
I think he deserves criticism. I
There-
think he
there-
does.
there's no-
In
there's
terms
no
of
more like,
preparations
well-
for big games like that. Yes,
Yeah.
it is
It-
absolutely.
it
fair.
is there. It
and
is-
I hate to say that.
And it sucks. Again, flat out, I think Lanning's one of the 5 best coaches in the game. Again, if I was a younger guy, Whittingham's my guy. That's who I'd want to go play for. Lanning's on the list with him and Sig. Like, those are 3 coaches I would, as a young man, would love to play for.
Who was your third?
It's Whittingham, Sig, and Lanning.
And I'll throw Marcus Freeman in there.
I can't.
I know you can't.
But if you,
But you know
any
what
other
I mean.
school, any other school, I'd play for Marcus Freeman.
If Marcus Freeman is at Michigan or he's
Any
at
other
Florida
school,
State, you're
yeah.
totally down.
Well, but what sucks is that in most of these big games where Dan Lanning has had to come show up, guess what happened? Sorry, and I hate to say it, but
Program's in good hands.
Oh yeah, and
But the questions are going to rise.
Here's how I would phrase it. It is now the responsibility. It's not. They don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore.
No.
That is gone. When you get
No
embarrassed
excuses.
like that after the embarrassment against Ohio State, the benefit of the doubt is gone. You have to do it now.
yeah.
Now it's not
next
James
year,
Franklin.
Dan
It's not.
Lanning has to come out and effing prove it.
And it's not Franklin. It's not Cristobal. I think you're right. I think Ryan Day is probably kind of where you're at. Because if you're going to talk about all the accolades in the recruiting classes and the successes and all those things, if you're talking about competing at the highest level, look, you go out there and you get to this exact same spot again and you lose on a field goal or you lose in a close game, that's a different story.
Exactly.
Yeah, way
if
different than
Dante
losing by 34.
But hey, a big reason why they lost by 34 is Dante had a really, really bad game. Some of that is on coaching, but some of that is on player performance. If Dante is not that rough, this score is different. Okay? Indiana probably still
The
wins.
way Indiana played, I think that you could say Dante's better
It's not
and the running backs
56
No,
points.
it's a 2-score game.
I think again,
Sure, maybe, but it's not 56. A lot of Lanning's going to take the heat because it's college football, and the coach takes the heat more than the quarterback.
Yeah.
The NFL's the opposite. The quarterback takes the heat. But a lot of this stuff that's being said about Lanning in this segment and other shows nationally, locally, whatever you want to say, let's not forget that it's not Lanning out there throwing the football.
No.
It's not.
No.
And this game is a lot different if Dante doesn't struggle. Again, that's on coaching to get him ready and prepped and the right game plan, the right scheme, et cetera, et cetera.
and we haven't talked about the coordinators even yet, like with them with basically a foot out the door.
And I think that one thing that even coming out after the post game and the post game pressers and whatnot was Dan Lanning came out and said, "Hey, yes, you know what? We did a lot of bad stuff, but it's not just about what we didn't do. It's also about what that other squad did do." And so it's not one or the other. It's not just that Oregon sucked that day and that Indiana was that fantastic.
It was both.
It was a combination of the two.
Yep.
And so that's one thing where Dan Lanning is gonna have to get over that.
We can circle back around this on closing arguments if you like, but let's get back into the NFL. Crazy wild card weekend. Offensive struggles again. Coaches yelling at high profile players just falling apart in Philadelphia right before our eyes. But also, boy, not a hot take. That Christian McCaffrey is really damn good. Niners take down the Eagles. We'll go there next. 105.1 The Fan. San Francisco 49ers go on the road to Philadelphia and take down the Philadelphia Eagles 23-19. Is this the most... This has to be the most drama-filled game of the weekend. From soap opera and on the field standpoint. When Nick Sirianni ran down the sideline to bitch out A.J. Brown, I was like, this is over. They're losing this game. And they were ahead at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just get right into it. A.J. Brown drops a couple passes. They weren't great throws from Jalen Hurts.
But it also
They
appeared like
landed in his hands.
it looked like he gave up on all three of them.
They landed, all three of them, because there's the deep one, which I'll give the DBs a little bit of credit on that.
Sure.
It's a deep ball with two guys there.
It looked like he pulled up on it.
But the other two were low at his feet. Yeah, he had his hands on him.
Did you see his body language when he got up after each one of those?
Mm-hmm. Well, he looked hurt almost after the deep ball.
Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't damn. It was, you know what I mean? Like,
boy, it feels like A.J. Brown is the scapegoat in this game, and I'm just here to tell you, look, Jalen Hurts.
Jalen wasn't great.
Not my guy. Not my guy. I think he has winner mentality, which you can't teach. But you are seeing that without the right game plan, this is Dante Moore. Like, Will Stein, don't love his play calling. No. Don't love how he set up that game against Indiana at all. And this is what the Eagles have been living in all year. I hate to say it. I know if my buddy Brian's listening, he's going to be pissy because it's fly, Eagles, fly. I get it, bud. But that offensive scheme is failing Jalen Hurts. And if the scheme is failing a quarterback, it worries me about the future and longevity of said quarterback.
Well, I would argue the scheme is failing Jalen Hurts because you have to have a particular scheme. And when you don't have the best offensive line in football that allows you to dominate the line of scrimmage in the way, like, to give credit, Saquon Barkley showed up.
For sure. But to give not credit, Jalen had a clean pocket for a lot of that game.
For the majority of that game.
A lot of that game. He was able to go through his progressions.
Got sacked once.
Find receivers, He found his guy. Dallas Goedert was his dude. Devonta had a good game as well. Like, he had time to pick apart that defense when he could. And then what happens? The second half shows up and we're MIA. Mm-hmm. Once again, we're MIA. We can't do anything. San Francisco is playing with 5, 6, and 7 linebackers. Mm-hmm. And that Robert Saleh defense...
Oh, and by the way, Greg,
what's Spags going to dial up now? That's basically what we watched. What's Saleh going to dial up right now?
And by the way, Kittle's leg exploded.
Boy, that stinks.
Did you see the note that came out of that I thought was kind of funny in a sense?
The tequila?
Yeah.
That's my boy. That's my guy.
For those that don't know, a 49ers staffer was seen running a bottle of tequila to the locker room after, obviously.
I think it came down from owner.
I mean, I bet you it came from Kittle.
Oh, he's like, I need something.
Like, number one, I'm not happy. I'm in pain.
I know.
And I have to sit here and watch this, and I'm not leaving the stadium.
And they don't do surgery right away, but they're definitely not doing surgery right away. If you house a bottle of tequila, your blood is too thin. Yeah. Look, I watched The Pit, so I'm an expert now in medical because that's the world we live in now.
It's fun. But also, the flip side of this, not to take away from the Eagles real quick, Brock Purdy did not have the best game, but boy, was he good in that fourth quarter.
Those 2 picks, I was like, God, dude.
What are you doing?
What are you? I hated both of them. But you're right. When it came down to it, it's almost like
Shanahan dialed it up.
It's kind of like what you say when you just get into a game and you're like, what we said about Oregon, Texas Tech, and Indiana versus Oregon. Like, Purdy knew he had made mistakes. Shanahan knew that they were in a little bit of trouble.
And so he goes, hey, Juwan Jennings, go ahead and throw this ball for me.
Couldn't get things going, but I think somewhere in the third quarter, near the end of the third quarter, Shanny's got that click in his brain that goes, oh my God, I know it. And it's like, what do you know, coach? They can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do anything. So he goes to Saleh and he's like, hey, dude, don't get wild. Keep us in this game. They can't score.
We'll be there.
They can't score. We'll be there. And enter Christian McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. Enter Juwan Jennings. DeMarcus Robinson had a fantastic game as well for the Niners. Like, this is why Shanahan is as good as he is. You've heard me on this program for weeks and weeks and weeks telling you, not only is he the coach of the year, it's tough to say with Andy Reid, obviously, but and Sean Payton and their pedigrees and stuff, but boy, Shanny is a good coach. One of the best coaches in the NFL.
He's one of the best offensive minds we've ever seen,
to take this team, Bro, on paper,
After-
this
here-
team is kind of cheeks.
Look,
with all the injuries and stuff
when
like
you,
that.
And not only that, you see your guy Kittle go down. And every one
Just
of those
a gut
guys,
punch.
every one of those guys knows what happened. Everyone, it's not Kittle's a gamer. He plays through everything. He plays beat up. Everyone knows his Achilles just popped. You know he's
Well, you
probably
saw-
out next season.
You saw there was like no movement in his foot.
Yeah.
He couldn't put any pressure on it.
I mean, that's what I mean. So
Boy, snapping it must hurt really, really bad. What does it feel like when you step on that foot? Because he
It-
came
it
down
was-
on
yeah,
it again.
Yeah, and there's
Just
nothing there. Yeah, there's nothing holding it back. For them to rally, like when you see a teammate go down with that kind of injury, you know, again,
Especially he's your number one option. Well, in the receive, I don't know. Maybe Christian's still your number one asset on the offensive side.
when you see a
passing.
teammate go down, especially a teammate that really, really matters. And it's not like to say like as a person, but like a guy that matters as far as like on the field and like not just their production, but like their the ethos of them. Like George Kittle is that. For him to go down and for everybody to know exactly what it was and to rally, that says a lot about that team, man.
It really
And
does.
it's the antithesis to the Eagles. Because they were not a unit, they were not a team. Like it was selfish. You could see it. It was selfish all over the field.
And I think there's a lot of parallels of this game with Chicago Green Bay. Look, I know there's a bunch of Niners listening. We got some in the YouTube chat and on the text line as well. I mean, I think it runs out there. You know, I think you got a tall task against Seattle next week on the road. That place is going to be insane. Division game in the playoffs. First real playoff game for the Seahawks in almost a decade, not counting COVID. Philly kind of S the bed. And there's a lot of Green Bay that S the bed. But Caleb, when he had to make a throw, made a throw. When Brock had to make a throw, he made the throw. Jawan Jennings had to make a throw. He made the throw. And that tells you a lot. Coaching can win you games in the NFL, and it's not always personnel. A lot of times the best personnel is who wins the game in the NFL. That's just, especially in the playoffs. You got a quarterback that's better than my quarterback exponentially, you're most likely going to win that game. This is one of those games where a coach and just the belief can actually make it happen. And that's where I give a ton of credit to Shanahan. Purdy figured it out in the end. Nice little trick play from Jawan Jennings. Throw a touchdown. And Christian McCaffrey, boy, I can't wait to see that bust in Canton because that boy is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I can't stop watching him. He is so damn good. Does the clock strike? Maybe Cinderella a little bit? I think so. Now with no Kittle, if Purdy plays like he did yesterday against the Eagles, they lose to the Seahawks by 2 scores.
Oh, annihilated.
Annihilated. Good win. You know, you're a team playing with house money.
You can go full dirt on this.
You can't.
No one believes in us.
No one
Underdog
believes
story.
Nobody believes in you right now.
Nobody
believes
Nobody
in you.
believes in you.
So now the 49ers are better than this other squad, but is CMC, is he Barry Sanders?
Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion, should go down as one of the top 5 running backs of all time. He's LT era.
I mean, production-wise, yeah.
Production-wise. I mean, him, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Marshall Faulk are the most dynamic running backs we've ever seen.
Both top of their game, both receiving and running the ball.
Correct. Barry, better running.
Saquon's in that same vein.
Barry Sanders, a better running back.
Yes.
But as far as a dynamic playmaker, you're looking at Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. And it might be McCaffrey, LT, Faulk in that order. I'm an LT guy.
I'd flip that list around.
So I'm going to go LT. Ooh, you take Faulk 1.
Faulk 1.
I'm an LT guy. That's my bias. But as far as production from the running back position, the only people to have as much rushing and receiving in one season, I think it's 1,000 yards, is
Faulk.
Christian McCaffrey. No, it's Christian McCaffrey and Roger Craig.
Didn't Faulk have 1,000 receiving and rushing?
I don't think so. You might have to double check that. We'll go to break and you can check that. When we come back, we'll stick in the NFL as Josh dons the cape. Once again, how many times are you going to do this? But here's the Kahuna with sports.
I hear they got some tasty burgers.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, Wild Card Weekend in the NFL wraps up this evening. The Texans visiting the Steelers. It's a 5:15 kick on ESPN and ABC. Houston are 3-point favorites. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Packers and head coach Matt LaFleur expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep him in Green Bay. LaFleur has 1 year remaining on his deal. Over to college ball. After a rough weekend for the Ducks, Nebraska transfer quarterback Dylan Raiola apparently committing to Oregon. This follows the news of backup quarterback Luke Moga announcing he has entered the transfer portal. ESPN's Pete Thamel reporting former West Linn and Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt. He's committing to LSU. He also paid visits to Miami, Tennessee, and Kentucky, and in the association. After having their 5-game win streak snapped on Sunday, the Trailblazers off today. They head to San Francisco for a tilt with the Warriors tomorrow night. Portland currently 19-21 on the season. That is good for 9th in the Western Conference. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the Fan Happy Hour with Luke Anderson. Weekdays 2 to 3. The Fan Sports Network. 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
fun trivia for you if somebody ever asks. The last song that Bob Weir ever performed was this song, Touch of Grey. A little shout out to Jerry there. The last song Jerry performed was Box of Rain, which is a shout out to Phil Lesh. Coincidentally, and the last song Phil Lesh ever played, I believe, is Playing in the Band? I saw this, I can't remember, but it's a Bob Weir song.
Yeah. Well,
So Jerry ended with Phil ended with Bob ended with Phil.
Now, am I correct in
Bob ended with Jerry,
in guessing that this is one of those songs that the true Deadheads hate because this is the one that is the favorite of like the non-Deadheads?
Well, it's the only hit. It's the only hit.
Like, I enjoy it. I think this is a great song.
I think it's fine.
Which is probably, part of why they're like, oh, we hate you guys.
I think a lot of what's tough is that you can't really jam it out.
Okay.
It's kind of very structured.
Fair enough.
And I think that's where it gets to it.
Fair enough. That, and I remember seeing it on MTV with the skeletons in the music video and all that stuff.
The record company loved it.
Yeah,
They finally made a hit.
You
I'm
lost
sure
me
they
at Grateful
did.
Dead.
Buffalo Bills take down the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-24. This might have been the most exciting game.
I thought our Jags were going to do it.
I thought your Jags were going to do it too. And then Josh said, hey, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Man, yeah.
Look, there's just something about Josh Allen that you can't count him out. I thought Trevor had an okay game, but what's the difference between elite quarterbacks and very good quarterbacks? Throwing a pick and a game-winning drive.
Yep.
And I know everybody loves the kicking game in Jacksonville. Cam Little, he's got the 2 longest field goals
He missed
in the
it.
history. The one he missed was crucial.
And here's the thing. Lawrence had throws in that game, the touchdown in the back of the end zone. Where's the window? How did that ball get in there?
Moxie.
I mean, that thing was a missile in between 3 guys. And you're just like, oh, that's right. Football Jesus, you can do that. But the mistakes will get you. And, I mean, the play that everyone is going to talk about is the tush push.
Sure.
Jeff Saturday talked about it coming into the playoffs. Which team has the best offensive line left?
And
Buffalo Bills.
And the Buffalo Bills. That's how you're going to do it. They had the best run game. Now Jacksonville came to play.
They bought
by
them up.
shutting down that run game. James Cook was not good from the run game at all. Could not catch passes either. Jacksonville had a good strategy against Buffalo. They truly did. In fact, dare I say, they were the better team. The problem is Josh is the best player on the field.
It's one of the rare instances where I think the better team lost. And I'm not just saying that because I picked the Jags. I thought
from a complete standpoint,
you just kind of go down the list, man. The Jags were just good, but the thing that hurt them was the turnovers.
What was interesting too is when Josh Allen scores that touchdown to go up late and basically seal the game.
And then the Jags just didn't have enough time.
He goes into the end zone and he kind of curves to his right and he's standing there almost like he was about to look at the fans to celebrate and realized, oh, right, I'm not in Buffalo. And then he was kind of like, oh, yeah, touchdown, and spiked the ball and kind of walked away. I think he was a little caught off guard that he's like, wait a sec, did we just win this game? Is this game over?
You know what I really wanted to hear is for that Jacksonville running back, Bashal Tootin. He got into the end zone. I just wanted to hear he gets into the end zone and you go, you know what? Darn Tootin. Darn Tootin.
Ha, 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 Jeff.
Yeah.
Ha.
Dad joke. Boom. Roasted.
I will say, it was a great game.
It was a fun game.
I mean, you look
It was a phenomenal game.
You look at the
Even
box
being
score.
the guy that is
on the other end of it.
on the losing side.
The only quarter that either team won was the first quarter. The Bills outscored the Jags 3-0. Otherwise, they matched each other quarter for quarter, 7-3-14. That was about as tightly contested a game. And for the Bills to do that, we talked about this going into the game and why I picked the Jags not only to win this game, but to go on. But the Jags were playing the best football in the league going into this. Trevor was on fire coming into this. For the Bills to win this game, for Josh to get the road win, I don't think you can oversell that enough because he finally got that monkey off his back and he did the thing that we always talk about. He threw the cape on and got it done.
Do you think this changes? They'll go to Denver, take on the Broncos. Rematch of last year where Buffalo shellacked them.
Yes.
Do you think this...
At Mile High, of course.
It's kind of like how we talked about the Niners. We don't really love the Niners' chances against the Seahawks in the next round.
I like the Bills against the
Dare I
Broncos.
say I kind of like the Bills' chances after
Why?
this game because they didn't play well and won.
But not just that. Quarterback. Who do you trust? Do you? It's not anti-Bo.
Oh, that's not even
It's not a shot at him.
How dare you even ask that question?
It's Josh Allen, and what did he just do?
Yeah, there's something about how Buffalo was not firing on all cylinders, you know.
And they beat a really good Jags team on the road.
Team. And dare I say, Josh put the cape on, but not like in years past.
He just made plays.
It was like, I need you to make a series.
Mhm.
And he was like, okay, I can do a series.
I can do that.
To where in the past it feels like I need you to do 3 series in a row.
And it wasn't play mistake-free, flawless football. He did. He played mistake-free.
Extremely efficient. 28 of 35, 273.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the overwhelming, every single play, Josh Allen save us.
No.
It was just a consistent, when we talked about it, from the early to start the show. Fernando Mendoza was flawless. Like, that's what a flawless performance looks like.
So impressive. I mean,
this was not flawless from Josh Allen. It was really good, but at no point in time did you say, I don't know.
Josh is on the road. Here he goes, losing again.
They were there, right there, the entire game.
Well, and the hardest part
Probably
was
saved Sean McDermott's job.
The hardest part was once Buffalo went and made that go-ahead score, and you had Jacksonville, and you got a little bit over a minute left, right? And then old Easter Island face comes out and throws that interception.
It is always tough at the end of the game.
There he is.
But again, it was exciting. It was another game that was exciting and got, there was an opportunity for the Jags to win, and, Trevor just threw the pick. And that's kind of what happens when it goes that route. When we come back, closing arguments to send you on your way. The Firm, 105.1 The Fan.
It's time for the closing arguments. Brought to you by Leskin Law. One-day divorce mediation. Peace treaties, not war plans. Visit LeskinLaw.com for more information.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
On the Fan Sports Network.
You can't handle the truth.
105.1 and 1080, The Fan.
All right, that's going to do it for us here. Send you on your way. Closing arguments brought to you by Leskin Law. Visit LeskinLaw.com for more information on the show tomorrow. We'll take a, 30,000-foot look at the greatest round of playoffs ever. There are some wild stats coming out of the NFL.
It just kept building up. Every game just kept building it.
And hopefully we'll see that tonight.
Let's keep it going.
Let's keep it going. We'll also have some fun with audio. There's a kid who's an Eagles fan who said some really fun stuff we'll get into. And also whatever the hell that was with Liam Cohen. Speaking of the Jags game, we'll get into that a little bit tomorrow. I'd love to hear your opinion, Danny, as someone who sits in that room frequently,
It's without getting into it right now, it's one of those things where I can't talk about it and not have somebody roll their eyes at it.
I know.
But it's also, it does need to be discussed with nuance. So
Sure.
we'll get to that when we get to tomorrow.
Also, a lot of college football quarterback news. Trinidad Chambliss, Damon Williams, Sam Levitt, etc. Plus, we'll have a little conversation about Denny and the Zebras. I thought he had a really nice comment.
That was fun.
Kind of pushing back at the trolls, and it's a free consultation. Tuesday, real quick, before we finish up with some Dan Lanning comments, Houston-Pittsburgh tonight. Boy, if there's anything this weekend taught me, I have no stinking clue what's going to happen tonight. I am now any game for the rest of the playoffs. I'm spin the chamber, to quote you, and you let me know what's going to happen.
Some of the most unpredictable football we've ever seen.
Because I think we said this last week when we were breaking down games and kind of going through all the teams. Like, I like Houston in this game.
I do
feel
too.
really comfortable liking Houston in this game. But from what I just saw, now did the best team win all those games? I think so.
Yeah, to an extent, for sure.
But
I think the only time you maybe say that is the Jags game.
Yeah.
You said like the Jags may have played better, but 2 turnovers versus
2 turnovers versus none, and Josh Allen put the cape on.
Yeah. So I'm still going to stick with the Texans.
I am too. But boy,
Defense travels.
let's keep this rolling.
Oh no! Look,
Let's keep this rolling.
This could be 17-13.
Anybody know
Be a really good game.
Do we know the weather in Pittsburgh tonight?
They've been out there. It's windy, but it's been clear.
Okay.
So it's just I've just seen the papers have been blowing off desks. Guys are having to put something heavy on their papers. That's what I've seen.
Finish up some Oregon Duck comments, and we'll take a break from that tomorrow. We'll get back to it on Wednesday with Tyson Alger, who always joins us. We'll put a bow on the season with him as well, the Oregon Ducks. The Dan Lanning conversation. If you look at it, every year is an increase.
Yeah.
Okay. It's you're a good team, don't make the playoff.
You're a great team.
You win the Big Ten, lose your first game. You don't win the Big Ten, you win 2 playoff games and lose in the semi. Your trajectory is in the right spot.
Yes.
I think sometimes for some people, maybe it is the 20-year build and looking across the aisle and seeing the hot chick who did it in 2 years, which I don't think is a fair way in today's world. It just proves to you that anybody can do it.
I'm in that same camp. Sig doing this is not anything negative against Lanning.
No. And if anything, it just, with the right coach and money, you can do this.
Yes.
Okay? If NVIDIA,
Texas Tech is the lesser version of it.
If NVIDIA, bro, steps into Oregon State and you hire some up-and-coming hotshot coordinator and you put $500 million into that program, guess who's playing for a natty next year? Or in 2 years. You can do that.
If Fernando Mendoza is the quarterback of Texas Tech, we're having a very different discussion right now.
Very, very different conversation. Very, very different
Like just getting the quarterback right.
Do you think this, how do I want to phrase this? Does this prove that Dante should come back? Does this prove that Dante will come back?
Yes.
For both?
Yes.
I think so too.
Now,
I think it proves that he should.
yeah.
It definitely proves he should.
Yes. Now, again,
And especially if he's thinking about NFL stock, because we've seen about like what happened with Anthony Richardson and 13 career
I still
starts.
think he goes number 2.
Yeah, he will, but is it the right way?
Second quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes number 2 now, though.
Maybe not.
overall,
But second quarterback for sure.
I think that
He'll still go ahead of Ty.
It's unfortunate that is the last tape he will have this year if he does go to the NFL, because I think it will cause some teams to go, maybe not pick number 2.
Yeah.
Maybe not pick number 2. But as it pertains to Lanning in general, Lanning is a phenomenal coach. What he has done, what he has built, the culture, the recruiting, the defense,
Dare
the
I say
size,
top
the
5
profile.
program in the nation.
I'm not going to.
Alabama's got questions with
Sure.
DeBoer right now. Now, obviously, the brand might be larger than Oregon, but Alabama, I'd rather be in Oregon's position than Alabama's right now.
Oh, sure.
If I'm being honest.
Not only that, your fan base is not Alabama's fan base.
Woof.
But I don't think you can go in the next season and not have legitimate questions about the very top.
I think things.
I'm not talking about getting through the regular season. I'm not talking about development. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about when push comes to shove moments.
And I'm going to bring up again a conversation that we had earlier that people had the same questions about Ryan Day.
Yeah, it's fair.
Sure.
But
Sorry.
also, if Day had lost, there was real talk about him getting fired.
But he did lose several times.
No, I'm talking about last year.
I got you.
Like
Okay.
that, like fairly or not, like that was the momentum that was building.
I think the real questions that Lanning's going to have to go into are that staff, quarterback development.
Yep.
Because obviously, Bo.
It's not the program, it's the margins. Because when you're talking about winning a title, you have to have all of the things, but everything has to be nailed down.
Bo developed. He was a better quarterback at Oregon than he was at Auburn.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Dylan Gabriel was a better quarterback at Oregon than he was at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
The question is if Dante comes back, or if it's Dylan Raiola who starts next
Whoever
year.
it is.
Whoever it is. I think it's fair to say for both these cats, can they be a better version of themselves last year? Because that's what this program has done with quarterbacks, has made them a better
Better version.
product of themselves than they were the year before, whether they were at that school or not at that school.
I 100% agree.
And Dante is definitely a better quarterback now than he was before he got to
Oh, got
Oregon.
it. UCLA?
Without a doubt.
So let's see how that goes next year.
But can he make that jump again? Can he be Bo Nix year 2 at Oregon? And if it is Dylan Raiola, can it be Dylan Raiola better than he was at Nebraska? Because Nebraska fans are okay that Raiola is not coming back.
Yeah.
They've seen this experiment.
Hey, to be fair,
they're done.
Auburn fans were totally fine with Bo leaving.
That's true.
So
Be careful what you wish for sometimes on that stuff.
yeah.
Because
Which program? Well, I'd say better shape right now. It's Oregon, but Auburn's in a better place, I think, going
Well, and
forward
with Bo
than
Nix-
Auburn was.
Oh,
And
for
Bo
sure.
Nix was an Auburn legacy, and they were like, "Get the hell out of town."
I also wonder what's the timeline on Dante? Like, can Dan go to him and be like, dude, I got to know?
Well, I mean, he's got to know. I mean, Dante's got to know for the draft here relatively soon.
I mean, when do you have to declare by?
I think it's in 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think it's when it is.
That'll be the
Well,
next
the draft is in April. Yes.
But
Yeah.
you got to declare sooner.
Yeah, I think it's beginning of February. I can never remember.
God, if he declares for the draft, please don't do the I'm not going to run, I'm not going to throw.
Well, I think after that game, he might have to.
You kind of have to do all that stuff.
Which is weird to say because of the profile.
Or you could just come back for another year. That might be what I want to do.
Development-wise, I'm 100% in agreement with you. He needs to come back.
I think so too. And last thing we'll say, we said it earlier, dude. Boy, Fernando winning the Heisman makes me feel a lot better now.
Yeah, no,
That boy's good.
at the last couple of games.
That boy's good.
Totally fine with that.
Also, it looks like we're looking around January 14th to 15th, according to the Google AI.
That's Wednesday and Thursday
Okay.
of this week. Closing arguments brought to you by Leskin Law.
Oh, I'm
Visit-
sorry, with the final opt-out date in early February, around February 7th.
There
My
it is.
bad.
Closing arguments brought to you by Leskin Law. Visit leskinlaw.com for more information. Leskin Law's one-day divorce mediation, peace treaties, not war plans. R.I.P. the great Bob Weir. For Danny Morang, that's Jeff Rust. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Patrick Harris. Go do something I would do.
Bye.
The Fan is live